primitive mystical region, giant god star. Li Qi logged off the virtual universe and headed to a private room on the inn's third floor. The windowsill was 2 meters wide. He sat on it and watched the street below, a river of bodies and noise. The brave trial lived up to its reputation, once every 100 years, and the streets were crowded with spectators. He noticed strange pieces of technology on some rooftops. Giant Godstar had joined the Virtual Universe Corporation, yet most of its civilization still felt native. Only a few port cities showed heavy tech presence. A knock sounded at his door. The inn attendant's voice called through. "Your Highness, news just arrived from the Lichuan City Dojo. All participants are to assemble for the main brave trial." "All right, I'm on my way." Li Qi launched himself from the windowsill and flew toward the dojo. More than an hour later, he hovered in the central arena of the Lichuan City Dojo alongside over 30 other contestants. He kept the same flight height as the rest. World Lord Shigang stood at the center and announced, 27 participants are here for the Brave Trial's main competition. Shigang explained the plan. This trial will have 2 stages. The first stage will take place on Changji Island. World Lord ranked masters will escort you there by spaceship. A ripple of excited chatter spread among the giant god race participants. Hunting thrill was in their blood. Changji Island was famed as a hunting holy land. Many assumed they'd be free to hunt everything they pleased. Figures appeared on the arena, 27 world lords, each exuding the pressure of their rank. Then a flash of lightning heralded a single man whose body trembled with electric arcs. An invisible pressure dropped over the arena. Even the universe-ranked contestants felt it. Li Qi recognized the presence at once. Undying spiritual god. All the world lords bowed. The Undying nodded and addressed the contestants, his gaze briefly lingering on Li Qi before he explained the rules. The first stage takes place on Changji Island. Each of you will be given a personal optical computer. You must not turn it off during the competition. Anyone who does will be eliminated. Your objective on Changji Island is to hunt, independently, the territory lord-ranked vicious beast shown on your optical computer. He made the rules explicit. You are strictly forbidden from hunting any vicious beasts other than your designated target. Once you kill your assigned prey, you have completed the first stage. Only the first 16 to finish will advance to stage 2. Disappointment spread across many faces. They had hoped for wide-open hunting. Instead, their freedom would be tightly constrained. The Undying continued. We will now distribute the optical computers and assign your targets at random. 2 world lords stepped forward. One summoned a huge light screen showing the 27 contestants' avatars. Next to each, a hunting target cycled through options. The other produced the devices and sent 27 wrist-style optical computers to the contestants by mind power. Li Qi strapped his on like the others. Open your optical computers. When they all activated the devices, the targets on the big screen locked. Li Qi scanned his watch. The single word blinked back at him. Leifu Beast. Leifu Beast, he murmured. The world lords then escorted each contestant to their ships. 27 D-class ships materialized, and the group launched toward Changji Island. As the fleet disappeared, Li Qi wondered aloud, why split the trial into 2 stages, and why start on Changji Island? Changji Island was vast, hundreds of thousands of kilometers in diameter. When his ship hovered above, its hatch opened, and Li Qi dropped to the island's jungle. The ship immediately retreated. According to the World Lords, Changji hosted Universe, Territory Lord, and World Lord-ranked vicious beasts. World Lord beasts stayed concentrated in the island's central zone. The Territory Lords were active more inward, while the outskirts held Universe-ranked and lower predators. Li Qi kept to the outer and mid-rings to avoid World Lord territories. The rule forbidding the hunting of non-assigned beasts complicated things. A flock of avian vicious beasts approached. If he killed any of them, he'd be disqualified. He dove at the last moment and used his instant shadow illusion body to leave an afterimage, which the flock tore to pieces, satisfied. He ghosted through the rainforest beneath the canopy, moving with mind power to scan for territory lords while avoiding astral and universe ranks. His small physique helped him slip between roots and trunks. The no-strike rule made him nervous, and several times he had to choke down the urge to make a kill. After an hour of cautious travel, he entered the Territory Lord activity zone. The area was huge. Finding a Lifu beast would take time. Half an hour into the search, he found a cave with a pile of raw F-grade metal ore, dozens of tons. A useful prize. Once refined, it'd be worth several thousand hunyuan. The small windfall lifted his spirits. Another hour of searching brought him to his target, a Territory Lord 9-rank Lifu beast. The creature was enormous, grayish-white scales, a triceratops-like bulk, over 100 meters long. Li Qi's figure streaked like a black lightning bolt. He used the trees as cover and closed in. He struck with his black, ferocious gauntlet. Dark, claw-shaped shadows flared out and ripped into the Lifu's scales, drawing several deep, bleeding wounds. The beast bellowed and lashed its massive tail. Li Qi slipped like a shadow around the attack, but the sheer size and toughness of the Lifu made the fight arduous. The scales had been torn, the flesh beneath was hardly damaged, but the shock of having its proud armor shredded sent the beast into a furious frenzy. Li Qi pressed the assault. He used his secret technique to create multiple afterimages, making it hard for the Lifu to discern his true position. A gigantic claw shadow swept down like the strike of a monstrous hand. The Lifu shot its head up and tried to block with its 3 bone horns. The blow exploded against them, and the shadow shattered. While it was preoccupied, Li Qi flashed back to an earlier wound and drove his gauntlet in, ripping away a slab of flesh several meters across. Blood spattered the ground. The Lifu screamed and thrashed, but Li Qi danced through the blows, adding blow after blow. The creature's bulk gave it resilience most human territory lords wouldn't possess. A vicious beast's defense was built for endurance. Still, Li Qi found and pulverized the life core. The great beast's roars dwindled to nothing. It collapsed, dead and bleeding. Panting and streaked with blood, Li Qi studied the corpse. Killing vicious beasts felt different from fighting humanoid opponents. Their bodies are built like fortresses, he thought. They have almost no intelligence, but their physical defenses reach extremes. Even with a high comprehension of law, it takes effort to find and destroy a life core in a creature this size. He reflected on the advantage of giant bodies. Massive divine bodies could wear down foes even if slightly weaker in technique. He thought of the giant god race's legendary treasure, the giant god power fruit, said to increase a user's height. If he won the championship and ate one, even a modest gain to 30 or 40 meters would be more than enough. At that scale, most of his old vulnerabilities would shrink. He checked the optical computer on his wrist. His ranking showed 4th place. Not bad. Li Qi flew toward the rendezvous point. He had completed his assignment and would head for the next stage from there. Giant God Star, Lichuan City. Light screens projected from rooftop devices cast battle footage into the sky, replaying the contestants' fights on Changji Island. His Highness from the 5 Great Giants is incredible. He killed his target in just over a minute. And even more, his opponent was a Territory Lord rank 9 vicious beast. For us it wouldn't be huge, but for someone only around 2 meters tall, that thing was a mountain. The challengers in this brave trial are truly powerful. Even for us geniuses, it takes minutes to down a Territory Lord rank 4 or 5 beast. We can't compare to him. After the clip of Li Qi slaying the Lifu beast, knowledgeable onlookers buzzed with excitement. Even people of ordinary cultivation could see Li Qi was in another league. 2 hours later, aboard the spaceship, returning from Changji Island, Li Qi rested in his cabin when a voice sounded in his ear. The 16 brave trial participants ranked by vicious beast kills have been determined. The first stage has ended. You will shortly return to Lichuan City for the second stage. Return to Lichuan City now? No rest? Li Qi blinked. Feeling the abundant genetic primal energy within him, he smiled inwardly. Strange schedule, but fine by me. With the source of life ability, my recovery is rapid. Continuous combat suits me. The announcement startled the other contestants crammed in nearby cabins. They had just faced Territory Lord beasts, and now were ordered straight into the next stage. How can this be? One contestant jumped up. We were told the brave trial had only 1 stage. Now it's in 2, and the second stage starts immediately. My opponent was a Territory Lord rank 7 beast. It cost me dearly. A pale, exhausted contestant hastily withdrew universe crystals from his spatial ring to recover genetic primal energy. I need to top up before the second stage. This is unreasonable, someone muttered as they absorbed crystals. They're rushing us. No time to recover after the first stage. Back in Ligan City, the light screens blared the same announcement, and the giant god populace debated it loudly. Why the sudden second stage? It's unfair to those who fought rank 5, 6, or even 9 beasts in stage 1. Exactly. This schedule is biased. The giant god people loved spectacle, but hated unfairness. The sudden change without prior warning provoked complaints, until the spaceship finally docked above the city dojo and the hatch opened. Contestants filed down onto the arena while several world lords followed. The 16 who advanced stood at attention before an undying spiritual god, his body crackling with electric arcs and bristling pressure. Your lord. The crowd bowed. The undying spiritual god's voice resonated through the arena. I imagine you're curious why the trial proceeds so urgently. The reason is simple. The rules for this brave trial were personally set by King Suimi. A murmur rippled through the assembled giants. King Suimi, the champion undying? He set the rules? Excitement replaced the earlier frustration. King Suimi was the strongest of the giant god race, the undying who had sealed giant god star. For him to take an interest was an honor. The undying spiritual god continued, his aura suffusing the arena. King Suimi arranged these rules to teach a lesson. Not everything is predictable. When you become world lords and enter the outside territory battlefield under the Virtual Universe Corporation's assessments, unexpected things will happen. You must never allow a single non-life or death fight to leave you dangerously depleted. Now the second stage begins, one-on-one matches. Winners advance, losers are eliminated. Pairings follow your rankings from stage 1, first versus 16th, second versus 15th, third versus 14th, and so on. He gestured and a light screen displayed the bracket. Li Qi saw he was 4th. His opponent was the 13th ranked Weina. Except for the 2 participants in the next match, everyone else leave the arena immediately. Whooshing, contestants departed until only the 2 duelists remained. By the time the 5th match began, 4 fights had finished. Brutal, Li Qi thought, watching bloodstains that teams had already scrubbed from the floor. 3 dead in 4 matches. The contestants' comprehension of the laws clustered around heavenly bridge levels 2 or 3. Many were evenly matched and fought as if their lives depended on it, aiming for vital points, the head or the sea of consciousness. The present world lords and undying spiritual gods showed no intention of intervening, so the death toll was high. No wonder the giant god world mission was dangerous level. Weina materialized across the arena, a lean giant nearly 30 meters tall. Hostility burned in his eyes. The 5th match begins. Both moved at once. Weina, also a martial artist, flashed forward and swung his tens of meters long great blade. He thought he'd landed the decisive blow. The massive weapon slammed the ground with a thunderous crash and sent a shockwave outward. What? Weina's confidence cracked. The figure he'd struck didn't bleed. Instead, his form shattered like a soap bubble. Before Weina could recover, an overwhelming force struck his chest. Law-infused power carved a hole over 2 meters across in his torso. He gasped, blood spraying from his lips. I surrender. Match over. Li Qi wins. The undying spiritual god declared the result and used his eternal divine power to separate them. Li Qi faded to the arena's edge, thinking that was simple. As a peerless prodigy from the virtual universe's primitive mystical region, Li Qi's law comprehension, weaponry, and battle armor far surpassed Weina's. After narrowly evading the blade, one precise counterstrike had inflicted catastrophic damage while stopping short of killing. Weina, understanding that pressing on would cost his life, bowed out. The contestants in the stands stared in disbelief. They had heard rumors that this highness had injured World Lord Shi Gang in the preliminaries, but they hadn't believed it, not until they saw Li Qi's speed and power with their own eyes. The first-ranked contestant from Stage 1 stared in bitter acceptance. The brave trial happens only once every 100 years. Each person gets a single shot in the main competition. If you don't win it now, you never will. Seeing Li Qi, he realized his chances were gone. In the city streets, citizens watched the replay on slow motion, aghast. He's far stronger than the last champion, someone said. The gap's enormous. This brave trial's champion will be him. In a private inn-room, a 2-meter-tall man heard the chatter below and thought, of course, that's Li Qi. He passed the 10th level of the Heavenly Bridge. The man, a newcomer who just entered the highest beginning mythical region through the Secret Realm contest and had arrived in Giant God World years ago, had hoped to compete for the title. Now, seeing Li Qi here, he gave up. Bad luck, he muttered. 3 from the primitive mystical region, and 1 shows up here. I'll be stuck in Giant God World for 100 years waiting for the next trial. With Li Qi's dominance known, later matches became more restrained. Opponents realized one person was out of reach and chose to spar rather than fight to the death. Li Qi's presence single-handedly lowered the death toll. Only the 3 who perished in the first 4 matches died in total. Then it was over. The champion of this brave trial is Li Qi, the undying spiritual god announced. Now, the previous champion, Shike, will transfer the sacred fruit to Li Qi. Shike, in a gray-white battlesuit and a territory lord rank 6 powerhouse, walked onto the arena carrying a white jade plate over a meter across. On it sat a pale green fruit, about 20 centimeters in diameter, veined with golden patterns. He approached Li Qi, and under the gaze of all, transmitted a cold message. I know you are extraordinary, your highness of the 5 great giants, but you are still a universe rank. I am territory lord rank 6. If you are sensible, accept the sacred fruit. If not, I'll make you regret it. He extended the jade plate toward Li Qi. Li Qi's lips curved. He sneered and said, I refuse. What? He refused. He's challenging Shike. Shike is a prodigy of the giant god race. He beat 2 your highnesses in the last brave trial. Universe rank peak challenging a territory lord rank 6? Even if he's a your highness of the 5 great giants, isn't that arrogant? On the streets of Lichuan City, when the giant god race crowd saw Li Qi turn down the sacred fruit offered by Shike, an uproar erupted. This your highness from the 5 great giants was unbearably arrogant. From the windowsill, a man who had just been promoted to the highest beginning mythical realm smirked. How proud was Li Qi, who had passed the Heavenly Bridge 10th level? He would have challenged that so-called giant god prodigy too. These core members of the Virtual Universe Corporation were forged from countless geniuses across the 1004 universe country. How could they fear a prodigy of the giant god race? On the arena in the Lichuan City training ground, Li Qi's refusal echoed into the crowd. I refuse. Shike's face drained of color. Humiliation flared behind his eyes. He was the giant god race's prodigy, the brightest of the next generation, and he had been embarrassed in a brave trial watched by thousands. Shike's hatred and fury boiled over. He transmitted through the arena, You've asked for death. Don't say I didn't warn you. Li Qi only chuckled lightly. Just as King Swimmy said, he murmured. The undying spiritual god hesitated, then asked through the projection, Li Qi, are you certain you want to challenge Shike? Confirmed, Li Qi replied. He looked at Shike. Shike, do you accept Li Qi's challenge? Shike fixed him with an icy stare. I accept. Very well. The undying spiritual god nodded. With a small motion, he took the white jade plate Shike had been holding, then raised his voice to the arena. The challenge is established. Li Qi, do you require recovery time? No. Li Qi shook his head. We can begin now. We can start now? Shike's eyes widened in disbelief and rage. The territory lord rank 6 champion, the previous contest winner, was being treated with such disdain. He ground his teeth. What about you, Shike? The undying spiritual god asked. I can start any time. Shike spat. Good. The undying spiritual god signaled, and the white jade plate was taken back. Challenge begins. Outside, the giant god race spectators muttered among themselves. Too arrogant. He didn't even rest. The man at the windowsill raised a brow. Even discounting Li Qi's strength, continuous battles consumed genetic primal energy. To refuse recovery and jump straight into a match against a territory lord rank 6 seemed presumptuous. Yet the arena lights showed Li Qi already centered, composed. On the battlefield, Shike drew a sword so large it dwarfed a door, a blade more than 10 meters long, and pointed it at Li Qi. With a flash, he closed the distance. The giant sword sliced in a horizontal arc, sealing off a 10-meter pocket of space. Li Qi vanished and reappeared using his instant shadow illusion body, leaving behind a convincing afterimage. The sweep that should have cut him instead slashed the illusion. Shike's left hand flashed, and a circular shield, 10 meters across, formed to block the strike. Useless, he transmitted, confident. You can't break my defense. Li Qi's figure flickered. Dozens of realistic afterimages spawned and swarmed Shike, encircling him. Dark claw shadows erupted from all directions and hammered at Delta's defenses. Shike slammed his sword and shield into motion, parrying frantically. A small, nimble opponent is annoying, he thought, his vigilance absolute. This man's strength was far greater than the two Your Highnesses he'd beaten last time. Observers whispered. Shike's law comprehension must be around Heavenly Bridge 5 or 6. He's a true prodigy. Li Qi focused. The probing phase was over. He activated Blood Luo power. Blood-red sigils bloomed across his chest beneath the Moyen Vine battle armor, and his law compatibility and attack power surged. He unleashed Destroy 3, a colossal dark gauntlet-shaped claw of space law, tens of meters long, descending like a titanic beast strike to envelop the 30-plus meter Shike. Shike slammed his shield up, the runes on it blazing as the dark claw slammed into it. The impact drove him to one knee. For a fraction of a moment, he survived the blow and felt a grim satisfaction at having taken it. But then a primal, ancient roar filled the air, like a vicious beast's thunder, and a trace of beast-god concept shot through Shike, numbing his limbs. Move, move, he screamed to himself, but the paralyzing concept slowed him. The massive space law force within the dark gauntlet found a gap and struck Shike's head. Li Qi's genetic strength, a 128-fold life genetic level, combined with Heavenly Bridge 10th level law comprehension, doubled by Blood Luo power and threaded with beast god concept, produced a strike powerful enough to wound a world lord. The impact obliterated Shike's head. Bone, blood, and brain matter sprayed in a gruesome burst. Li Qi reflexively used his mind power to block the sensory filth, but immediately a powerful force seized him. The undying spiritual god flashed forward, a half-meter metal syringe gleaming in his hand, a bright green liquid sloshing inside. He plunged it into Shike's arm. The liquid drained, the shattered head rapidly regrew, flesh-knitting, bone-reforming. When Shike's features returned intact, the undying spiritual god declared, "Winner, Li Qi." Silence, then stunned murmurs, rippled through Lichuan City. How could a universe-rank peak defeat a territory lord rank 6 so quickly? The giant god race crowd refused to believe their prodigy had fallen in 10 seconds. The screen's verdict left no room for doubt. The man on the windowsill exhaled, astonished. Li Qi had the mark of a once-in-millennia prodigy, worthy of comparison with KD. Shike, head restored, but still on one knee, stared at Li Qi in disbelief. He bowed his head. "I lost." He forced himself up, stepped to Li Qi, and offered the white jade plate. "The sacred fruit is yours." Li Qi inclined his head and accepted it. "Thank you, Lord. Because you defeated the previous champion, you may cultivate in the giant god pool for 1 year," the undying spiritual god announced. "If you have nothing else, come with me to the giant god holy temple. If you're occupied, you may go by yourself." "I have nothing else. I will go with you," Li Qi replied. "Good." The undying spiritual god signaled to the assembled world lords. "This brave trial has reached a successful conclusion. Retrieve your equipment and handle the remaining matters." The world lords bowed in unison. "Yes, Lord." Shike escorted Li Qi into the sky. A spaceship lowered its hatch. They boarded, and the vessel sailed off toward the giant god holy temple. More than an hour later, Li Qi arrived at the giant god race's holy site. The temple complex was vast, a series of palaces stretching for tens of square kilometers, clustered around a towering, ancient tree. At the base of that tree lay a pale green lake, the giant god pool. "This is the giant god pool," the undying spiritual god said. "You may cultivate here for 1 year." He added a reminder. Taking the sacred fruit inside the giant god pool increases the chance that the fruit will take effect. "Thank you for the reminder, Lord," Li Qi said. A translucent jade vial about 10 centimeters tall floated toward him. Li Qi caught it and looked puzzled. "That is a good elixir," the undying spiritual god explained. "Drink it before taking the sacred fruit. It improves the fruit's success rate. King Suimi asked me to give it to you." Li Qi's brow tightened at the name King Suimi. He had never met such a figure. From the earlier chatter, King Suimi was a champion powerhouse from Giant Godstar. On Thunder Island, in a towering hall, King Suimi, an 80-meter tall figure on the great screen, watched the brave trial replay. A prodigy appearing once in millions of epochs, he murmured. He defeated a territory lord rank 6 with Heavenly Bridge 6th level comprehension in 10.1 seconds. If a universe lord resurrected his family for him, this one must be cherished. Befriending him will benefit the giant god race. He had prepared the plan: Lifu beast blood, giant god body tempering wine, and the giant god pool's aid. The arrangement, he believed, pushed the sacred fruit's success rate to 97%. He wondered quietly how much Li Qi's body height might increase. Back at the pool's margin, the undying spiritual god continued. King Suimi set the rules for this brave trial. The territory lord-level vicious beast you killed in the first stage was also part of that arrangement. Leifu beast, Li Qi thought. A territory lord vicious beast, but the F-grade metal prize he'd found earlier worth thousands of Hunyuan units had been even more suspect. It seemed King Suimi had arranged more than one detail of the trial. All right, the undying spiritual god nodded. Drink the elixir in that jade bottle first, then take the sacred fruit. Li Qi complied. He stripped off his armor and weapons, stored them in his world ring, and waded into the light green water. He uncorked the jade vial and drank the elixir. It felt cool at first, then rushed like fire through his veins, an intense internal heat, as if his body were melting. The giant god pool's cool surface countered the flame, an exquisite balance of chill on the skin and burning within. His body seemed to undergo subtle, incomprehensible change. This feeling, wonderful, he thought, sensing the transformations unfolding. He produced the light green giant god power fruit, then ate it in a few swift bites. Chapter 204, Marquise Huangjai and Number 2. The pale green giant god power fruit tasted sweet and melted on the tongue, but the sweetness belied the effect it had. As soon as Li Qi swallowed the pulp, a savage pain swept through his body. The fruit shattered the delicate balance between the heat within and the cool without. It was as if a roaring fire had reignited inside him, scorching flesh and bone. His pores flew open, and he began to drink in the cold water of the giant god pool, as if to douse the blaze. The pool's coolness eased the agony. Li Qi submerged himself completely, burying his still hot head beneath the surface. Days passed. 1, 2, 3, 10, more than 10. He remained in the water, his cells slowly changing, his body growing inch by inch. A year later, an undying spiritual god still sat cross-legged on the roots of a vast tree by the pool, his back to the pale green water, watching without moving. He had been ordered by King Suimi to wait. No one was to disturb the one who had entered the pool. Normally, the effects of a sacred fruit ended within weeks or, at most, a year. Yet the water was utterly calm, showing no sign of him emerging. He's been in the pool for a year, the undying thought. I can't pull him out. King Suimi's order is clear. Still, I wonder how much his height will change after all this. World Lord Yeli swept out of the palace complex above the giant god holy temple to make his annual patrol of the pool. The water here came from the holy tree's roots, and only a tiny amount formed each year, priceless, closely monitored. He knelt and inspected the route leading to the pool. The carved marking for the water level stunned him. How could it drop so much? He whispered. Compared to last year, the marking was down one full notch, a notch that represented a century's output from the holy tree. Yeli racked his memory, but could not find any record of massive consumption of the pool's water over the past year. Alarmed, he rose and streaked toward Marquise Huangjai's palace. The giant god holy temple had 3 palaces more magnificent than the rest, homes of the strongest undying who held champion titles. Marquise Huangjai, one of the king and 2 marquises stationed on Giant Godstar, was a Marquis-level undying renowned even among them. Yeli arrived at his gate and announced the situation. An abnormality at the giant god pool. I must see Marquise Huangjai. The 2 domain lords guarding the entrance bowed and opened the 100-meter gate. Yeli rushed into the immense palace and approached the throne where a broad, imposing figure sat. Marquis Huangjai rose at once. Speak, he said. The pool's water level has dropped 1 notch from last year, Yeli reported. Huangjai's face darkened. The giant god pool was a core resource. Any problem with it would be devastating for their race. Let us go, Huangjai said, and with his eternal divine power, he swept Yeli into the sky. At the pool, Huangjai stooped to inspect the route and its mark, while World Lord Yeli stood respectfully nearby. Any records of great usage in the past year? Huangjai asked. No, Ye Li replied. The last time a large amount was used was a little over 10 years ago. It would take about 10 years more to finish that. Has anyone entered the pool recently? Huangjai pressed. A year ago, a Your Highness from the 5 great giants entered the pool, Ye Li answered. There is no record of his leaving. A year ago, Huangjai mused. Who brought him in? It was adult, Ye Li said. Huangjai frowned. The Undying called adult had been an Undying for an immense span of time. Though classified as a military lord-level Undying spiritual god, he had reached the peak of that tier and, with King Suimi's bestowed treasure, ranked among the top fighters of their race, born around the same time as King Suimi and bitter rivals turned uneasy companions. Go back for now, Huangjai said abruptly. I'm going to see adult. Huangjai flew to the palace where adult stayed. 2 domain lords absorbed universe energy before the gates when the Marquis appeared. They dropped to a knee and greeted him. Marquis Huangjai. I want to see adult, Huangjai said. Adult hasn't returned to the palace, one domain lord answered. Huangjai's brow tightened. Could he still be at the giant god pool? Without waiting, he vanished and returned to the pool. He found adult exactly where he had been the whole time, seated by the pool, eyes steady. Adult, Huangjai said as he landed. Marquis Huangjai, adult acknowledged. Huangjai wasted no time. A Your Highness from the 5 great giants entered the pool a year ago? Yes, he is still inside. Do you know the pool water dropped a full notch this year? That's 100 years' worth of the holy tree's production, Huangjai said, voice tight. By regulation, cultivation in the pool cannot exceed 1 year. He's been in there for over a year. I think we should ask him to come out and explain. Adult's face did not change. He answered firmly, No, if that Your Highness does not come out of his own accord, no one is to force him. Huangjai's anger flared. Do you understand the importance of the giant god pool? If something happens to it, what a blow that would be to our race. Are you going to risk that for your own selfish reasons? King Suimi issued an order, Adult replied calmly. Unless that Your Highness comes out himself, no one is allowed to disturb him. King Suimi's command? Huangjai stammered. He pressed on. Wake him then. If King Suimi blames anyone, Huangjai will take the responsibility. Adult shook his head. Without King Suimi's direct instruction to remove him, I will not allow anyone to disturb that Your Highness. King Suimi said this. Your Highness might determine the future destiny of our giant god race, so I will not risk it. Determine our destiny. Huangjai's expression changed to one of astonishment. Is he really that important? I do not know much, Adult said. If you wish to confirm, enter the virtual universe and ask King Suimi. Huangjai nodded and split off a thread of consciousness to enter the virtual universe. In Thunder Island's great palace, domain lords and world lords alike recognized him and bowed as he appeared before King Suimi's throne. King Suimi, Huangjai said, kneeling. Oh, Huangjai, King Suimi replied. What brings you here? I was told you had a Your Highness from the 5 great giants brought into the giant god pool and ordered that no one disturb him, Huangjai said. Did you issue such a command? I did, King Suimi answered. Adult is carrying out my order. The pool's level has dropped a notch in a year, Huangjai said. King Suimi's voice remained calm. 1 notch can be restored in 100 years. Our Undying are eternal. A century is but a span of deep cultivation. Do you know who that Your Highness is? Huangjai's interest sharpened. Who is he? He is Li Qi, King Suimi said solemnly, a core disciple from the primitive mystical region of the Virtual Universe Corporation. Li Qi? Huangjai burst out. Li Qi, the one as famous as KD. King Suimi confirmed it. Huangjai's memory flickered through Li Qi Royce's background. Born on a semi-indigenous planet in the lava starfield, honed in the genius system of Lava World Master. 2nd place in the peak genius battle, entering the primitive mystical region, taking a disc bowl under Lingtu Venerable, passing successive levels of the Heavenly Bridge, and eventually being taken by an existence greater than a universe exalt, an existence who even resurrected his family. Called a peerless genius who appears once every million epochs, Li Qi had been highly prized. If it is Li Qi, then I have no objections, Huangjai said without hesitation. I will guard him alongside Adult. Nothing must happen to him on Giant Godstar. King Suimi nodded. That awareness is commendable. Back in the giant god Holy Temple's administrative palace, an undying spiritual god tuned into the latest intelligence about giant god Star. His eyes lit up when he read a particular item, and his voice trembled with recognition. The number 2 on the assassination list. Beside the giant god pool, Marquise Wangjai learned Li Qi's identity from a faint remnant of the clone's consciousness. "I have already met King Suimi," the whisper said. He looked at Woody, who had spent a year silently cultivating on the sacred tree's roots while guarding Li Qi, and spoke in a low voice. "His Highness Li Qi's identity is extremely noble. I will protect him alongside you. The Chai Fan incident must never be repeated." Outsiders who didn't know the full story assumed Giant Godstar had been sealed off by King Suimi simply to prevent reckless clansmen from courting death. The truth was more complicated. Marquise Wangjai had not personally lived through the catastrophe, but he knew enough from records to understand its impact. Before that assassination, Giant Godstar had been far more open. Giant God race members who became world lords and passed the assessments could join Virtual Universe Corporation or even aid the human race. Everything changed after one devastating attack. A once-in-10,000 epochs genius from the Universe Galaxy Bank, Chai Fan, had been assassinated while performing a cultivation mission on Giant God Star by an undying spiritual god using a soul enslavement method and a self-destructing assassination. The blast didn't just wipe out every giant god genius taking the brave trial. It destroyed a city of hundreds of thousands. The humiliation drove Virtual Universe Corporation to tighten controls across the 4 secret realms. King Suimi went further. He hired a champion-level undying Great Master to probe the departure records of everyone leaving Giant Godstar and uncovered many individuals who had been soul-enslaved by foreign races. In the end, he spent a fortune to build a planetary blockade network. Now, only extraordinary world lords with exceptional talent, power, and will could leave freely. Others, even undying, were subject to inspection. Extremely noble? Woody's face went grave at the name. He had witnessed the aftermath of Chai Fan's assassination and knew how terrifying the consequences had been. "We must not repeat the Chai Fan incident. Protecting His Highness Li Qi's safe departure from Giant Godstar is our top priority," Marquise Wangjai said. They both sat cross-legged in the shadow of the sacred tree. "Besides the 2 of us, no one else can be trusted," Marquise Wangjai concluded. Given the stakes, and given that Woody himself had been investigated during the Chai Fan purge, he could not risk additional hands near Li Qi. For safety's sake, no one else should approach His Highness. Woody agreed on the surface, but beneath his calm words, a darker resolve lingered. Woody had once been soul-enslaved by an insect race undying-level queen and had escaped detection. He had been lying low on Giant Godstar for years, waiting for the chance to fulfill orders given long ago. He had no qualms about completing those orders, even if the price was chaos. For now, however, those intentions remained hidden. Outwardly, he was a loyal guardian. The 2 undying settled into patient watch, waiting for Li Qi to emerge from the giant god pool. Inside the giant god Holy Temple, one of the palace's ancient undying spiritual gods, an imposing figure whose divine body reached over 50 meters, was scanning messages from the last decade. He, too, had been soul-enslaved once and had avoided detection during the Chai Fan incident. He had remained on Giant Godstar for years, biding his time for a single opportunity to assassinate a super genius. Today, his target was ranked number 2 on the assassination list, Li Qi. World Lord Ye Li entered and bowed respectfully. "Great Master Woody, I've read the report you just submitted." Woody nodded, then asked, "The giant god pool's water level has dropped by 1 mark. Has the issue been resolved?" "Marquise Wangjai is handling it," Ye Li replied. "If Marquise Wangjai is handling it, then I won't interfere." Woody's expression darkened. "With that meddlesome Marquise here, my chance of succeeding against number 2 will be greatly reduced. A Marquise-level undying, even a relatively early stage one, could crush a high-level immortal military lord like him." Woody's past submission to his master's orders had hardened him. Life, death, and the well-being of Giant Godstar were secondary if he could fulfill his mission. He restrained himself. "I cannot act rashly. As a disciple of an existence greater than a universe country lord, Nar, two will be protected by Marquis Huangjai and that other undying. I must wait for the moment when he is about to leave, and everyone lowers their guard. Winter passed and spring came, cycles of cold and heat folding into one another. At the edge of the giant god pool, the two undying guardians continued their watch for over 10 years. The vigilance kept many world lords and universe country lords from approaching the pool, though from a distance everyone could see the drop marks along the roots. More than 10 marks had fallen. Woody muttered, "This is the 16th year. There's still no sign of His Highness Li Qi." Neither Woody nor Marquis Huangjai infused divine power into the pool. They feared waking Li Qi prematurely. Many before had not needed more than a year inside the giant god pool to complete their cultivation, but Li Qi had remained. Another month slipped by. Deep at the bottom of the pool, something huge stirred. 200 meters of coiled flesh, hidden among the sacred tree's roots, began to awaken. Ugh. Li Qi's eyes opened for the first time in many years. The mind felt hazy at first, like someone whose body had been surrendered and was slowly being reclaimed. The giant god power fruit's effect is like a fusion with a blood river crystal. I lost control of my body for a while. He checked the time and was surprised. 16 years. I really stayed here that long? He moved an arm and touched a root. The surface rippled. As his control returned, he sensed something astonishing about his body. The giant god power fruit. He felt both astonishment and a rising excitement. My height, 238 meters, 100 times what it was before I ate the fruit. A 100-fold increase in height had huge implications. When he became an undying spiritual god, his divine body would already be at that scale. The human race rarely displayed such life gene potential. Li Qi's new height put him at the very top among human branches. He grinned inwardly. A divine body of 238 meters. Once undying, even without a clone for divine power supplement, I'll have a significant advantage. Even without perfect genes, my main body will be formidable. His joy was tempered by a practical problem. He was trapped in a tight tangle of roots. The largest gap was barely over 10 meters. This tree is the giant god's sacred tree. I can't break out by force. He released mind power to probe the surface. At the same moment, both Woody and Marquis Huangjai felt a new mind power fluctuation from the bottom of the giant god pool. His Highness Li Qi has awakened, Woody announced. Since you're certain, go and check, Marquis Huangjai said. Woody plunged his eternal divine power through the pool and found Li Qi amid the roots, a towering figure, a small mountain at 238 meters. He was stunned. How is this possible? His Highness Li Qi's height, 238 meters, 100 times his original size. As one of the ancient undying of giant god race, Woody knew the records. The tallest non-giant god who had ever emerged before had been 142 meters. Never had he seen 238. He transmitted the news, trying to steady his voice. Marquis Huangjai, come see. I'll bring him out, Woody said, and descended all the way to the pool's bottom. The water parted before his eternal divine power. His Highness Li Qi, please enter this world ring first. I will take you out. Li Qi, who had already detected Woody's presence, stepped into the ring and was carried up. On the surface, Woody released him. The sight that met Marquis Huangjai was staggering. Li Qi's silhouette blotted out the sun, his 238-meter frame dwarfing the Marquis's 60-plus meter body. How is this possible? Marquis Huangjai reeled. By our records, the tallest to emerge after consuming the sacred fruit was 142 meters. Li Qi peered down at the much smaller undying. Great Master, who is he? That is Marquis Huangjai, a Marcus-level undying stationed on Giant God Star. He and I have been guarding you while you cultivated in the giant god pool, Woody explained. Li Qi inclined his head. Thank you, Marquis Huangjai. You flatter me, Your Highness. Marquis Huangjai bowed. Woody then added, at your current height, ordinary spacecraft can't carry you. Even on giant god star, such ships are rare. We'll need to requisition a ship from a palace off-planet. That may delay you a little. No problem. Li Qi understood. Many human devices were incompatible with beings at his scale. Then I'll rely on both of you to escort me. Your Highness, consider it done. Marquis Huangjai wrapped his eternal divine power around Li Qi and set their course for the nearest spacecraft, Docking City. Blackwood City was the closest docking hub to the giant god Holy Temple. Dozens of system-certified ships were moored there. Takeoffs and landings were frequent. In one municipal data room, Woody's eyes brightened as he scanned a report. No. 2, escorted by Marquis Huangjai and Woody, is heading toward Blackwood City, he read. If I return to the Holy Temple now, I'll run into them. Closing the file, he left the data room. At the City Hall doorway, a World Lord bowed as Woody passed. Great Master Woody, did you find what you needed? No, I already did what I came for. I'm returning to the Holy Temple. Woody's expression was composed. He transformed into a streak of light and flew back toward the giant god Holy Temple at a steady pace. After only 20 seconds, he sensed a pair of powerful divine power signatures approaching. Marquis Huangjai and the huge figure of Li Qi, both moving with eternal divine power. It's them, he reported inwardly, and his heart lurched. When their energies were close, he transmitted the casual, friendly message he always used with trusted peers. It's Woody. Great Master Woody? Marquis Huangjai's tense nerves eased at once. Woody was one of the ancient Undying, strict but reliable. If he had survived the Chai Fan purges, he could be trusted. The three Undying moved rapidly through the void. Up close, Li Qi could see the face of the one who had greeted them cheerfully. Unknown to Marquis Huangjai, though, Woody's calm exterior masked a single intent. He had been waiting, planning, and now an opportunity had presented itself. He urged himself inwardly, closer, a little closer. Woody kept coming closer. Stopping his flight for a moment, Marquis Huangjai sent a worried transmission. Something's wrong. It's too much of a coincidence to meet Woody now. Better to be careful. Huangjai knew the danger. Although he'd trusted Woody in the past, he still transmitted to the approaching Undying. Lord Woody, stop. What? Woody's reply was puzzled, as if he hadn't quite understood. He continued to fly forward. Still a little short, need to get closer. As an Undying spiritual god, Woody knew how fast an Undying could move. If he couldn't get close enough, any assassination would fail. When Woody ignored him, Huangzai's voice tightened. Woody, stop, no problem. Woody answered, but his heart was pounding. This distance, now! He unleashed eternal divine power like a furnace. Woody sacrificed part of his own divine body to surge forward, pushing his speed far beyond normal limits. Not good, whispered the other Undying at the sight. Woody's trouble. Huangzai reacted instantly. His target is His Highness Li Qi, Fire God Source Crystal. Flames licked around Woody's hands as he drew out a fiery red crystal from his world ring, the V4399 Fire God Source Crystal. He had kept it hidden for ages. It was a one-time automaton race weapon, the kind of technology the automatons made to kill Undying spiritual gods. Compressing unimaginable flame, eternal divine power into a crystal and detonating it produced an explosion like the self-detonation of a flame. Undying. The best low-grade Fire God Source crystals could match the self-detonation of a Marcus-level Undying. The V4399 ranked among those. When available, such crystals cost between 10 and 15 million Hunyuan units. Woody roared inwardly, desperate. Explode for me! Dormant for countless years on Giant Godstar, Woody had made no moves and reported nothing. He had only watched the assassination rankings update. Now he finally acted, willing to trade his life for a single chance to kill number 2. Fire God Source Crystal. Explode. The crystal detonated. Space itself warped and collapsed. The red gem expanded into a colossal fireball, like a star going supernova. Protect His Highness! Huangzai shouted. I'll go first. You follow. The other guardian transmitted. They had no time for ceremony. The two Undying threw themselves between the blast and Li Qi. One flung the boy into his world ring and curled protectively behind Huangzai, while the Marquis took the brunt of the blast. The Fire God Source crystal's detonation was ferociously hot, far hotter than ordinary law flames. The explosion concentrated a supernova-scale energy into a single instant. Woody, who had triggered the crystal, suffered most of it. Nearly half of his divine body burned away, and he was vaporized to ash. The shockwave then slammed into the ground 10 kilometers below. Everything in the blast zone, life, soil, cities, was burned to cinders. Marquis Huangjai thrust up a 30-meter-tall silver-white shield, its surface covered with dark silver amplification sigils. He poured law-tinged eternal divine power into it. The sigils flared and an invisible defensive barrier rose. The shield took the worst of the attack, but the heat was so extreme its surface dulled and Huangjai's own power drained. Behind him, the other guardian, over 40 meters tall and armored in 6th-tier battle armor, had curled into a protective posture, clutching the world ring that held Li Qi. That little artifact was a fragment of a world bound with common materials. It could only withstand World Lord rank pressure. Against an explosion comparable to the self-detonation of a peak immortal military lord, it was fragile. Still, the Guardian wrapped his body around it, ready to sacrifice himself. The blast passed as quickly as it had come. The aftershock spread outward, turning tens of thousands of kilometers of ground, creatures, buildings, ore, into dust and ash. Inside the cramped, tenuous safety of the world ring, Li Qi felt the world flip. He was dizzy and confused. Then the truth hit him. I was being assassinated, he realized, in the primitive mystical region. An assassination attempt in the core of the Virtual Universe Corporation's primitive mystical region? He never expected that. The alien race's infiltration goes deep, he thought. As a disciple of a universe lord, if I don't fall now, I'm guaranteed to someday reach champion title limit. That's precisely the kind of target they'd use an undying-level soul enslavement to kill. Outside, Huangjai wheezed a low, pained sound. Even with a 7th-tier defensive shield, he hadn't fully activated its amplification patterns in time. The Fire God's source crystal had hit far harder than anticipated. He had lost nearly 36% of his divine body, an injury that would take hundreds of thousands, even millions of years to recover. Huangjai scanned the world ring with his remaining eternal divine power. Lord, is His Highness Li Qi all right? He's inside my world ring, came the reply after a quick scan. The world ring is intact. Huangjai split a wisp of consciousness into the virtual universe and then transmitted, Release His Highness Li Qi. I will report this matter to King Swimi immediately. Understood, the other answered. He poured a thread of eternal divine power into the ring. His Highness Li Qi, it's safe outside now. I will release you. Li Qi was pulled out of the world ring and returned to Giant Godstar. On Thunder Island, within King Swimi's tall palace, Huangjai burst into the main hall, breathless with alarm. King Swimi, something big. The throne room stretched before him. King Swimi, seated at the far end, raised a hand to calm him. Huangjai, speak slowly. What happened? We were on our way to Black Forest City with His Highness Li Qi when Woody ambushed us with a Fire God source crystal. Huangjai reported. King Swimi's face tightened. Woody? An undying on Giant Godstar, enslaved by an alien race? That's right, Huangjai related the encounter. Woody detonated the crystal decisively as he got close. If we hadn't been vigilant, he would have succeeded. The crystal's power made me lose nearly 40% of my divine body. I estimate it was equivalent to the self-detonation of a Marquise-level undying. That level of crystal is worth over 10 million Hunyuan units, King Swimi said through clenched teeth. Most immortal military lords could never afford one. Woody must have been under alien control. King Swimi, I've already told His Highness Li Qi that you will apologize on Giant Godstar's behalf, Huangjai added. All right, go and comfort him, the king replied. Huangjai bowed and left, and a dark headache knotted at Swimi's temples. He'd been trying to cultivate a relationship with Li Qi. The prestige of having a disciple of a universe lord on Giant Godstar was valuable. Now that effort was jeopardized by Woody's betrayal. The apology would cost something substantial. But what could he afford to offer? Outside, Li Qi stepped out, and the world around him shocked him into silence. Giant Godstar should be green and lush, forests and clear lakes, little technology. Instead, the landscape was a blazing red wasteland. A huge, tens of thousands of kilometers wide pit gaped in the ground, molten lava flowing within. Heat shimmered across the air, and smoke spiraled up from the crater's edges. How did this happen? Li Qi demanded. It was the Fire God's source crystal, Huangjai answered, apology heavy in his voice. We didn't expect Woody had been enslaved by the aliens. He brought the crystal to assassinate your highness. I'm very sorry. Li Qi glanced at the two undying. Their auras were severely diminished. He felt gratitude and unease at the same time. If not for you two risking your lives, I would have died. Woody is a high-ranking member of the giant god race, Huangjai said. His attempt makes our race responsible. King Suimi has prepared a gift of apology on behalf of the giant god race. Then a small voice, Xiao Shi, appeared in Li Qi's mind. Master, I just received a message from Universe Galaxy Bank. 1 million Hunyuan units have been deposited into your account. 1 million? Li Qi echoed, surprised. Xiao Shi continued. There's also an email from King Suimi. He asks me to read it to you. Li Qi let Xiao Shi read the message. Respected His Highness Li Qi, I am King Suimi of the giant god race. Regarding the assassination attempt by Woody, an undying spiritual god among our high-ranking members, we were unaware of his enslavement. For this encounter, I express my deepest apologies on behalf of the giant god race and offer 1 million Hunyuan units as a gift of apology. Please accept it and forgive my race. Li Qi thought it over. An apology gift of 1 million Hunyuan units. On the one hand, as a disciple of a universe lord, an attack on King Suimi's territory obliges him to make amends. On the other, the sum was generous. He couldn't help a small, rueful smile. He's being generous, he said to himself. In the insect race territory, beneath an endless scatter of stars, a massive mother nest sprawled across the darkness. At its heart rested a beautiful, beguiling Zerg queen mother of the undying rank. Her senses rippled as she perceived a death far away in human territory, her soul puppet gone. Confusion tightened her voice. Woody is dead. Woody had been a deeply hidden agent, lurking for countless years on giant Godstar within the primitive mystical region. His sudden death meant his activities had been discovered. The Queen Mother wondered aloud, did he try to assassinate some top human genius? Did he succeed or fail? She issued a terse command. Let the clan's intelligence network watch the human domains closely. 1 minute after the fire god's source crystal exploded, a colossal spaceship over 100 kilometers long hovered above Blackwood City on giant Godstar, its shadow swallowing most of the skyline. Marquise Huangzhai stood beside Li Qi as the vessel docked. Your Highness Li Qi, this ship is here to receive you. Having just dealt with Woody's assassination attempt, Marquise Huangzhai had escorted Li Qi safely into Blackwood City. Li Qi bowed his thanks. Thank you for the escort, Marquise Huangzhai. You flatter me, Your Highness. The Marquis inclined his head, and they both avoided mentioning the assassination. Chinidu, the ship's envoy, emerged as the enormous hatch opened. Over 4 meters tall and radiating the presence of an undying spiritual god, he announced himself. I am Chinidu. I have orders to escort Your Highness back to the primitive mystical region. Chinidu blinked inwardly at Li Qi's size. Li Qi towered 2 to 3 times the Marquis's height. The envoy had long served on the outer palace of giant Godstar and had seen many who benefited from the giant god power fruit, yet none with enhancements like this. He marveled silently. This body scale is unprecedented. Li Qi stepped aboard. Then I'll trouble you, Lord Chinidu. Chinidu gestured the way and followed. As the ship lifted, first lingering over the city and then accelerating away from giant Godstar, Marquise Huangzhai finally exhaled and turned to attend to his clan duties. Far away, in a majestic palace outside giant Godstar, a bearded middle-aged man sat on an elevated throne, his real height barely over a meter, his extravagant hair adding another 20 centimeters. He stroked his beard and sighed. A stature of 238 meters, so enviable. He remembered a past battlefield on the outside territory where the monster race used sheer divine body scale to overwhelm even superior opponents, forcing him to self-destruct. If I had even a third of that size, things might have been different, he murmured, then frowned. King Suimi paid dearly for giant Godstar before. I wonder what price he will pay this time. Inside the spaceship, the reception hall was vast enough that even Li Qi, now 238 meters tall, didn't crowd the room. He sat alone, tallying the spoils of his giant god world cultivation mission. The mission had 3 tasks. He completed the first and the third and earned 101,000 points in total. For a dangerous level mission, that was excellent. By comparison, his Blood Luo world mission had yielded 110,000 points for 2 tasks, so the returns were comparable. He also noted 1 million Hunyuan units paid as an apology, plus several thousand Hunyuan worth of ore from Changji Island. 1 million Hunyuan would go quickly, spaceship construction, cultivating cloud-caressing vines, buying materials. With the blueprints and materials provided by the Nightlight King, Li Qi could use 2 Nightmare Beast cores to forge a top-tier F-grade alloy, perfect for a ship hull. Alloys, however, weren't suitable for refining weapons or battlesuits, and building such a ship would likely require champion-rank undyings. But his size was a problem. At this scale, materials consumed would be at least 100 times more. Eventually, I might have to use a puppet to pilot a ship, hide my human body in a world ring while a puppet serves as my outward form. Puppets replicated the user's soul aura and were the scaled bodies used by some colossal alien races. He decided to ask 7th Senior Brother about a shrinking secret method upon his return to the primitive mystical region. He had missed the last decade of guidance. If such a method existed in their treasure vaults, he might learn it. He also recalled that physical talents couldn't be imported into the virtual universe, so his virtual body should retain its original proportions. Li Qi logged into the virtual universe to verify. He settled in Manor number 111 in the Rain Phase Mountain original area and opened the 4th volume of the God Tree True Understanding. His body seemed unchanged, but the study test could be inaccurate. He needed to try the training ground. As he entered the indoor training ground, the virtual universe system spoke inside his mind. Significant body size data change detected. Establish a second model with the new body size data. Enable second model? Li Qi asked for an explanation. The system replied that when someone first connects to the virtual universe, their body is mapped as an initial model. Growth or normal changes can modify that model within limits. When a change exceeds the limit, the system creates a second model that can be switched to in special locations. Li Qi found the setup useful and instructed, switch to the second model. In an instant, his body rose to 238 meters and the training ground expanded 100-fold to match. He scanned himself mentally. The system had indeed switched him to a second model. A realistic afterimage trembled where he had been. His main body now stood hundreds of meters away. Dark claw projections formed under his command, huge, each palm covering thousands of square meters, each finger over 10 meters in diameter and tens of meters long. He practiced claw techniques, the impact of each stroke enormous. He stopped after a few minutes, thinking, with this stature, a territory lord rank 9th tier Leifu beast would fall far faster than before. But the gain came with drawbacks. Such scale would make him unwieldy against small foes and make stealth impossible. He needed a shrinking secret method. Before heading to Ta's world, I must learn a long-duration shrinking technique. At least a 10-fold reduction is necessary. He left the training ground and returned to the study. In the virtual universe, his body reverted to a modest 2.3 meters while he continued cultivating the God Tree True Understanding. Days later, the great spaceship arrived near Wuchen time-space. A white-robed, undying detached Li Qi from the world ring and released him over Wuchen continent. When Li Qi manifested at 238 meters above his own manor, guards and servants below reeled in shock. This is impossible. His Highness, why is he so enormous? No room can hold him now. Before he left, he was just like us. What happened? The servants gasped as Li Qi descended slowly like a small mountain. Miao Li, leader of the guard army and an undying spiritual god, led the salute. Greetings, Your Highness. Li Qi returned the bow and waved them away. Miao Li rose until even to Li Qi's shoulder and voiced his concern. Your Highness, your body. It's a positive change, Li Qi reassured, smiling faintly. Only the scale is rather extreme. Miao Li relaxed a little but warned, at your current size, you will be unable to undertake cultivation missions for some time. True, Li Qi nodded. I'll cultivate quietly for a while. At this scale, hiding is impossible and danger follows. I must shrink before taking on new missions. They escorted him back into the manor. With his scale, no regular room would do, so the indoor training ground was quickly converted into a resting chamber. Li Qi then applied to claim his mission rewards. After review by Virtual Universe Corporation staff, the 101,000 points were approved and deposited. Several days of cultivation passed in the virtual universe. At last, 7th Senior Brother, the Lingtu Venerable, arrived to give guidance. Afterward, Li Qi asked the question that had troubled him. 7th Senior Brother, is there a secret method that can shrink my body for a long time? I need it. Lingtu Venerable considered and said, "There are many amplitude-type secret methods that reduce stature. Shrinking essentially raises body density, which improves both defense and attack. But long-term shrinking is difficult. Our people have traditionally prized larger divine bodies, and most techniques were designed to enlarge, not diminish." Li Qi listened, understanding the truth in his brother's words. Then Lingtu Venerable paused. "There is one method suited to your needs, but it's special. Your current authority can't purchase it." Li Qi stared. "What method? I'm a disciple of a universe lord. How could I lack the authority?" Lingtu Venerable named it plainly. "It's called Yuan Chong Ru Yi Body. Legend says Master obtained this secret method, and those who wish to learn it must pass Master's review." The name struck Li Qi like a thunderclap. Yuan Chong, Yuan Chong. To Li Qi, the term was painfully familiar. From the moment he was born, a method had been stamped into his consciousness, the 9 Revolutions Yuan Heavy Body Refining Method. Yuan Chong Ru Yi Body, what did that even mean? If it was controlled by his teacher, Ice Peak Lord, it had to be a top-tier human race secret method. Lingtu Venerable watched him study his thoughts and smiled. "The cultivation conditions for the Yuan Chong Ru Yi Body are harsh, but since you've obtained an opportunity, you meet the requirements. You should request permission from your teacher to cultivate it." "Thank you, 7th Senior Brother," Li Qi said. Lingtu waved off the formality. "I heard you were assassinated on Giant God Star." "Yes," Li Qi replied. "Geniuses like me are prime targets for alien assassins." Lingtu chuckled. "I faced assassinations too. It's part of the path to strength. It would be strange if someone became powerful without being targeted." Li Qi nodded. In the Venerable's eyes, surviving alien assassination attempts marked a prodigy. "That's all for today. Apply to your teacher about the Yuan Chong Ru Yi Body." With that, he vanished from the training ground. Left alone, Li Qi turned the name over in his head. Yuan Chong, what does it mean? The secret method had been clearer in his mind than his own memories since birth, but his memories felt wrong. Aside from his grandfather, he recalled almost nothing from his past life. Strangely, he retained more scenes from the original story he remembered than from his own life. If he could understand what Yuan Chong referred to, maybe his memory puzzle would make sense. "Master, you have an email from your teacher, Ice Peak Lord." Xiaoxi's cheerful voice broke his reverie. Li Qi's eyes brightened. "Open it." A hollow screen unfolded. The message was brief. "Come to my place?" "Xiaoxi, apply to teleport to teacher's virtual universe space," he ordered. "Application approved. Begin teleportation?" Teleport. In a flash of white light, he left the training ground. The virtual universe space of his teacher hit him with cold the moment he arrived. He stood on a snow-blanketed peak, wind cutting through the air. Ice Peak Lord stood above him at the summit, a battle sword on his back, worn ancient armor stained with old blood, temples touched with gray. Li Qi bowed. "Teacher." Ice Peak Lord's tone was flat but not unkind. "I know why you came. In the Giant God Star Cultivation mission, you increased your body height to 238 meters. Not bad. I learned of the Yuan Chong Ru Yi Body from 7th Senior Brother," Li Qi reported respectfully. "It's a dangerous level method he found. Even Universe Exalts would covet it. As my disciple, I can teach you the first 3 layers," Ice Peak Lord said. "That will be enough for your current body changes. We'll discuss later layers after you master these." "Thank you, teacher." Li Qi bowed again and took his leave. Back in Manor 115's study in the Rain Phase Mountain sector, Xiaoxi announced another message. "Master, teacher sent an attachment. Extract it." 3 metal books materialized, each stamped in Universal Common Script, Yuan Chong Ru Yi Body. Li Qi opened the first volume and read until his heart quickened. The method was a body amplification technique. If the first layer was cultivated to major achievement, the practitioner would achieve perfect force control. The body would reach 100 points on the Undying Altar and could change its volume to shrink or enlarge by up to 10 times. "No wonder 7th Senior Brother recommended it," Li Qi murmured. "With this, I could shrink down. A 10-fold reduction could be perfect." The cultivation requirements were steep, a life gene level 8 times higher required to begin. Without the 9 Revolutions Yuan Heavy Body method, he probably couldn't meet that standard. He skimmed the second and third layers. The second raised body amplification to 3 times while allowing a 30-fold change in volume. The third, at major achievement, leapt to 10-fold body amplification and a 100-fold change in volume. 10-fold amplification from the first 3 layers alone. This was a dangerous level method, worthy of a teacher like Ice Peak Lord. Li Qi thought about the original story. When Luo Feng challenged the 12th heavenly bridge, he passed with over 32 times soul amplification despite limited law comprehension. Li Qi wasn't anywhere near that, but 10 times amplification would be a huge boost. He'd neglected amplification before because he had prioritized law comprehension and other secret methods. Now that his eldest brother had been resurrected and time stretched out, he could invest in body amplification. The best amplification methods cost fortunes or were created by universe exalts. This teacher-sent method was priceless. He opened the first layer again. Begin cultivation. Meanwhile, in the insect race's territory, a vast mother nest floated in the starry void. At its center, the Zerg Queen Mother read incoming intelligence. Human race number 2, Li Qi, was targeted on Giant God Star, but the assassination failed. Her voice was soft and calculating. Woody's attempt failed. A shame. If he'd succeeded, even if Li Qi were resurrected later, he would have lost part of his opportunity. That would have reduced the threat he poses. The primordial universe was fair but exacting. When someone who has received an opportunity dies, they lose part of it. Assassination still mattered even when resurrection was possible. The Queen Mother frowned. He suspected of gaining another opportunity. His body has grown significantly. The human race's divine body is usually a weakness, but he's compensating. A lucky fellow. She read on. He's still at universe rank, cultivating in core secret realms. When he reaches territory lord rank and is dispatched to a universe country as an inspector, that will be the ideal time to strike. For generations, the peak races had focused on eliminating human geniuses first. The human race had long monopolized the top spots on the hit lists. 2 years passed. Li Qi's steady cultivation of the Yuan Chong Ruyi body had advanced him to the second layer. His body could now shrink 18-fold. He sat cross-legged in his manor's bedroom in Wu Chen time-space, about 13 meters tall, down from the towering heights he'd reached before. "It's time to take the Tasworld cultivation mission," he said aloud, and a light screen popped up. He scrolled through the dangerous level missions, 186 entries, Visca Star, Dragon Tower Star, 9-Star Sea, Giant God World, Prison Battlefield, Blood Luo World, and at 133, Tas World, within the Universe Mercenary Alliance's Glory Secret Realm. Li Qi read the mission briefing. Tas World was a vast continent suspended in the void, part of the Glory Secret Realm, full of strange flora and unique plant life not found elsewhere. The mission list was largely collection tasks. Gather 10 leaf Ganoderma for 1,000 points, and so on. Completing all 16 missions would yield over 20,000 points, a generous reward for a dangerous level assignment. Collecting rare plants required proper containment. Some needed cold storage, others neutral conditions. Li Qi made the necessary preparations, customizing containers to mission specifications. When everything was ready, guard leader Miao Li and a cohort of attendants saw him off. Li Qi boarded the Universe Mercenary Alliance transport bound for Tas World, ready to begin the next stage of his cultivation journey. The Glory Secret Realm, where Tas World lies, is far from the Virtual Universe Corporation's primitive mystical region. An F-class starship would still need nearly a year to make the trip. "Your Highness Li Qi, Tas World is up ahead. I'll send you to the palace outside the world. Staff from the Universe Mercenary Alliance will then escort you into Tas World." Under the simulated external scene, Li Qi saw a vast, light green continent floating in the void realm, shrouded in mists and stretching almost endlessly. Outside that continent hovered an enormous, majestic palace, also suspended in the void. "Understood," he said. Li Qi nodded and was transported by the ship to that palace. "You must be His Highness Li Qi of the Virtual Universe Corporation." At the palace gate, a world lord had been waiting for some time. "My name is Leo. I will be your guide." World Lord Leo stood 1.9 meters tall and stared, somewhat stunned, as Li Qi emerged from the ship, towering at over 13 meters. "Is His Highness Li Qi some branch of the giant race?" "His height is over 13 meters. Beyond his surprise, Leo was courteous and straightforward. Taz world is an important territory for the Universe Mercenary Alliance. The natives of the continent are already members of the Alliance, so indiscriminate killing is forbidden in Taz world. Also, he began to explain more rules. While Leo spoke, Li Qi followed him to a docking platform and stopped before the hatch of a ship over 1,000 meters long. Leo bowed slightly. "This will take you into Taz world, Your Highness." "Thank you," Li Qi replied. "You flatter me. That is my duty," Leo said. Under Leo's escort, Li Qi boarded the ship. After a brief exchange with the crew, the ship set out for Tas Continent. Tas Continent was a swath of green forest. A streak of light descended from the sky, landed among the trees, and sent a flock of birds scattering. The light faded, revealing Li Qi in camouflage combat gear over 13 meters tall. He scanned the land. Taz world must hide some secret, he thought. Why would the Universe Mercenary Alliance forbid direct entry by ship and insist on a transfer? There had to be a reason. Taz world is a dangerous level mission with a 50% mortality rate, he mused. There must be a lot of lethal vicious beasts here. Taz world had 16 missions in total. Finding those 16 mission targets across a continent nearly 0.4 light-years in diameter would be like hunting for needles in a haystack. The people who knew the landscape best would be the natives. Li Qi resolved to find a native settlement and gather information first. He rose above the canopy, summoned his newly acquired enlarged E9-level ship, and began searching for settlements and mission targets. Not long after he left the forest, he spotted a small city on a plain, a technological settlement with laser cannons mounted along its walls. Gaining entry after showing goodwill, Li Qi was brought before the tribal elder, a Universe Rank 5 middle-aged man. "Welcome to the Tree Sea tribe, honored guest from beyond the heavens," the elder said. After a cordial exchange, the elder explained the cannons. Taz world's threat wasn't just vicious beasts. Some plant life could also be dangerous. Those defenses kept the city alive against both animal and botanical threats. Li Qi asked for maps and information on herbs. "We have simple maps," the elder answered, "but I suspect someone of your stature wouldn't need a basic map." He went on, "Fly southwest from here. There's a large tribe there with comprehensive maps and extensive herb knowledge." "Thank you." Li Qi left a D-grade medal as a gift, thanked the elder, and headed in the indicated direction. In a little over 10 minutes by ship, he arrived at a massive city that sprawled tens of thousands of square kilometers. 4 concentric walls, dozens of meters high, bristled with laser cannons, each dark muzzle aimed out like a warning. Standing over 13 meters tall made him conspicuous. He was quickly led before the tribe's leaders. Under the territory lord's direction, several universe rank figures bowed slightly. "Welcome, distinguished guest from beyond the heavens," they said. "If you seek maps and herbs, we can help," the territory lord said. He produced a detailed map that marked dangerous spots where precious medicinal plants grew. "You may have this map for a price, metal." Li Qi produced a handful of D-grade metal from his world ring and exchanged it for the map. "A transaction is done," the territory lord said with a smile. "We know you guests prefer raw herbs, so we cultivated a plot especially for trading. If you see something you like, you can exchange metal for it." Li Qi followed attendants to the herb garden. There were many varieties, but none he needed. If the mission targets were so easy to obtain, the Virtual Universe Corporation's scoring would be trivial, and that would run counter to a mission with a 50% mortality rate. He shook his head and told them, "These aren't what I need," then left with the map and examined the marked locations carefully. On a cold mountain hidden by snow, Li Qi hunted a mission target, the snow condensation flower. He found one at last, blue stems and leaves with snow-white petals. But a snow-white vicious beast about 10 meters long lay curled beside it. Li Qi noted, a territory lord rank beast guarding it. No wonder these points are hard to come by. For ordinary universe rank cores, the challenge would be real. For someone like him, however, such opponents were manageable. His figure flickered, and he was instantly before the flower. He retrieved a container from his world ring and placed the cold, crystalline blossom inside. The vicious beast awoke with a roar and lunged toward him. "A territory lord rank 5, daring to bare its fangs," Li Qi said. He flickered again, and a black, ferocious gauntlet appeared on his hand. Buzz, his arm expanded in an instant. His palm grew to cover over 100 square meters, enclosing the 10-meter beast. The creature roared and struggled, but under that crushing lock, it could not break free. The giant palm, charged with space law, slammed down and struck the mountain, crushing both beast and peak. The once sharp summit shattered and was flattened. Li Qi watched the aftermath, silently noting the effectiveness of his body technique. This Yuan Chong Ru Yi body is impressive. I've only cultivated to the second layer and can already freely enlarge and shrink. Pity the current limit is only 18 times, still far from the major achievement of 30. He reduced his size and felt the denser, stronger sensation of his shrunk body. One snow condensation flower secured, 6 down in total, meant he needed only 4 more to finish that objective. He continued searching. Within 10 minutes, he found the final 3 snow condensation flowers. 1 mission completed. By Cultivate mission rules, completing any single mission counts as completing the Cultivate mission. Even if other missions remain, finishing one is a completion, just worth fewer points. He placed the container of 10 snow condensation flowers into his world ring, and suddenly his face changed. His world ring gave a faint vibration that caught his attention. The 100-meter-tall Guyu ancient tree clone, his second branch projection, stood alert and helped narrow the source. Is it? The clone pinpointed the signal. Li Qi searched inside the world ring and found an inconspicuous item, a crimson light box. He recalled this box held the mysterious emerald leaf. When he retrieved it by willpower, the vibration intensified. The box thrummed with life. He opened it and took out the emerald leaf wrapped in silk. In his palm, he felt a faint, rhythmic heartbeat. The leaf seemed to stir, as if being strongly attracted to something. What exactly is this emerald leaf? Li Qi wondered. Could it be that the ancient emerald tree he had once glimpsed was calling? He decided to follow the leaf's pull. He boarded his ship, holding the leaf and feeling its subtle desire to move. The leaf tugged, indicating a direction. Li Qi piloted the ship southeast. After a few minutes, he stopped to check. The leaf's vibration grew stronger. He pressed on. The pull intensified as they flew. At last, the leaf gave a downward tug. Li Qi opened the hatch, climbed out, and hovered with the leaf in his hand. Below lay an enormous ancient city. Its mottled bluestone walls rose hundreds of meters, and the whole place radiated an aura of age and greatness. So the emerald leaf's secret lies within this city, he murmured. He began to descend when Xiaoxi's warning chimed in his mind. Master, an E-grade laser gun below is locking on. Do not descend. Startled, Li Qi halted midair. An E-grade laser gun is locking onto me? The city doesn't permit aerial entry, Xiaoxi continued. If you want to enter, you must fly away from above the city, land outside, and enter from the ground. Understood. Li Qi obeyed. He flew away from the city, he landed, and then approached the gates on foot. Only then did he successfully enter the ancient city. Tas World, Lando City. Not the largest city on Tas World, but the oldest and most important. In a great hall of the central mansion stood an ancient bluestone table. Upon it lay a verdant, woody branch, its cross-section jagged and clearly broken. Suddenly the branch trembled as if answering some distant call. Around the table, several undying spiritual gods radiated grave pressure, standing silently and watching the pulse of the green relic. How long has the sacred object been acting like this? Asked a tall, undying spiritual god. A world lord standing just behind them answered respectfully, Over 10 minutes. Over 10 minutes. Another undying spiritual god muttered. If it's been that long, the person it calls should have already arrived. Yes, there's enough time, said the first. No need to rush. The sacred object will bring him to us. Lando City. Li Qi read the plaque over the city gate and entered through the mottled bluestone wall with the crowd. The city looked old, busy, and in most ways unremarkable. He frowned. How could an E-grade laser gun be hidden in a place like this? The emerald leaf in his hand throbbed like a heartbeat. Drawn by its guidance, he headed toward the mountain-sized mansion at the city's center. Passers-by stared as he strode up to the main gate. Before he could speak, 2 territory lord-level guards stepped aside. Esteemed guest, please enter, one said respectfully. Several of my clan's undying spiritual gods have been waiting a long time. Waiting a long time? Li Qi blinked. How do you know they're waiting for me? Maybe they meant someone else. If the guest didn't arrive guided by the sacred object, then he isn't the one the lords are waiting for, the guard replied. Li Qi glanced at his tightly clenched left hand. The leaf in it pulsed insistently. I am the one you're waiting for. Lead the way. The sacred object will guide you, the guard said with a faint smile. The leaf's beating quickened. Li Qi walked into the mansion and let the relic lead him through corridors with no one to stop him. When he reached the great hall, its ceiling several hundred meters high, the leaf hammered in his palm so violently it felt like a living heart. For a dizzy moment, he saw a vast, ethereal tree, its image half-formed and unreal. Welcome, esteemed guest who bears the sacred object, a gentle voice like spring breeze said. Li Qi snapped to attention and saw a black-haired man in dark green battle attire standing within the hall's doorway, smiling as he observed him. From the faint weight of his presence, Li Qi knew he was an undying spiritual god. Li Qi bowed slightly. Greetings, undying spiritual god. That guest is a Your Highness, one of the 5 great giants, prodigies. Yes? The undying spiritual god said, turning slightly to invite him in. Li Qi nodded. In a world now connected to the Universe Mercenary Alliance, the undying spiritual gods could easily learn of the notable geniuses every great power produced. He followed the god deeper into the hall. Your Highness obtaining our clan's sacred object indicates a connection, the god observed. Li Qi glanced at the leaf in his hand and admitted, Indeed, this sacred object has helped me greatly. The god only smiled. We have arrived. Ahead, on an ancient bluestone table, a white jade stand held a broken green branch, its uneven cross-section plain to see. The sight tugged at Li Qi. The air around the branch seemed to sharpen. He felt the urge to sink into that sensation, but with the steadiness of a world lord, he wrenched himself free. You quickly broke free from the concept of the sacred object, the gentle voice said approvingly. Your Highness, please present our clan's sacred object, another voice requested. Several undying spiritual gods stood quietly to one side. The speaker was an elder among them. Li Qi raised his left hand, palm up, and revealed the pulsing emerald leaf. The god's eyes flashed with a hint of disappointment. It's a complete leaf, one murmured. A complete leaf contains the essential profundity of the wood origin law. It's excellent for enlightening one's comprehension. We won't demand it by force, the elder spoke. Show it, and then decide after hearing our offer. You will not refuse our compensation. So confident? Li Qi said, surprised at their certainty. Still, he lifted the leaf for them to see. You have shown it, so we'll be fair, the elder continued. Lu, bring your highness to see the venerable. Venerable? Li Qi's pupils widened. Taz's world had a venerable guarding it. What secret warranted such a guardian? Lu, one of the undying spiritual gods, smiled. Please follow me. They left the hall that housed the clan's sacred object and walked toward the mansion's largest tower, a plain 1,000-meter structure with a footprint to match. At the tower's entrance, another undying spiritual god stood, pressure coiling around him like ropes. Who's with you? He asked as Lu approached with Li Qi. Your Highness bearing a sacred object, Lu replied. I bring him to pay respects to the venerable. The gatekeeper scrutinized Li Qi, then waved a hand. The tower door opened. You may enter. Thank you. I'll take a drink with you when I'm free, Lu added with a grin to the gatekeeper and led Li Qi inside. The dark corridor swallowed them for a moment as the door slammed shut behind them. Keep quiet, Lu transmitted. We're in an important place of the Universe Mercenary Alliance. When you meet the Venerable, be respectful. He stands on a rank equivalent to a Universe Country Lord. I know, Li Qi replied, though the reminder felt patronizing. He still bowed his head in deference. They emerged into a brilliantly lit chamber, dominated by a massive throne. Lu instructed, lower your head, follow my lead. Li Qi bowed as Lu approached the throne and saluted. Lu greets the Venerable. Li Qi followed suit. Greetings, Venerable. A majestic voice rolled down from the throne. What is it? Venerable, Lu said, this your highness bears our clan's sacred object. I brought him to pay respects. Bring it forward, the Venerable replied with interest. Li Qi presented the emerald leaf with both hands. It's a complete leaf, the voice on the throne remarked, a sliver of disappointment hidden in the tone. By the rules, you may choose to return or to keep the sacred object. If you keep it, there will be no reward. If you return it, you qualify to comprehend the God Tree Chaos Tablet. God Tree Chaos Tablet? The name made Li Qi's heart skip. Was this why Seventh Senior Brother had told him to come? What is your choice? The Venerable asked. Li Qi considered. The leaf had lasting personal value, but as a treasure, it was more symbolic than practical. He could send it home for his family to study the wood origin law someday. But the chance to comprehend a God Tree Chaos Tablet, whatever that yielded, could be priceless. I will return the sacred object, he said. A wise choice, the Venerable approved. What is your name and which power do you come from? Li Qi, from Virtual Universe Corporation, Li Qi answered respectfully. Li Qi. The voice held a note of surprise. The figure on the throne was a square-faced man clad in silver armor that subtly warped the space around him. He rose in stature on the throne, his presence enormous. I am Wansen Venerable. Wansen's gaze sharpened as he regarded the 13-meter-tall youth. Li Qi, I know you. You are a prodigy-ranked genius, a talent Virtual Universe Corporation produces only once in a million epochs. The undying spiritual god Lu was stunned. Li Qi, a disciple of a being greater than a universe country lord? Impressive indeed. Wansen nodded slowly. Someone worthy of becoming a universe lord's disciple usually must show exceptional talent early. World lord, then territory lord, then universe. For a universe lord to accept someone at the universe rank implies astonishing talent. You could be an occurrence once in 10 million epochs, or even 100 million. He continued, by the Universe Mercenary Alliance's rules, if you return the Taz clan's sacred object, you may comprehend the God Tree Chaos Tablet 100 times during this epoch, each comprehension lasting 7 days. After this epoch, for every epoch that follows, you may comprehend it once. This reward lasts for 10,000 epochs. 100 comprehensions this epoch, 7 days each, then one per epoch for 10,000 eeks, Li Qi calculated. The offer was astounding, but he'd never seen a God Tree Chaos Tablet and didn't know what such comprehensions would yield. Wansen studied him. You are here on a cultivation mission? Li Qi nodded. Yes, Venerable. Normally those who enter Taz World for cultivation need recommendations from other Taz World cities. Each recommendation grants 3 comprehension opportunities. I will grant you those 3 opportunities as well. Thank you, Venerable, Li Qi said, more convinced now that returning the leaf had been the right choice. Wansen smiled faintly. You may be wondering what exactly the God Tree Chaos Tablet is and why comprehension opportunities are so valuable. Look behind you and you'll understand. Li Qi turned. His pupils widened. Whatever stood there filled him with a shock so deep it left him speechless. That is. Li Qi turned his head. His pupils widened as shock swept through him. Bathed in an endless pale light stood a god tree nearly 10 meters tall, carved entirely from green jade. It had 3 main branches, 108 subordinate branches, and 3,888 leaves, each rendered with astonishing lifelikeness. The 3 main branches corresponded to the 108 essential mysteries of the space origin law. The 36 leaves on each branch embodied the 36 core mysteries of the wood origin law. Together, the trunk, branches, and leaves were a living symbol of the inscrutable wood-space fusion laws. How could the God Tree from the God Tree Chaos Tablet appear in this Taz world? Li Qi thought, thunderstruck. Wansen Venerable's voice came from behind him. You who cultivate by the God Tree Chaos Tablet must recognize it. This is the God Tree, Li Qi said softly. The one from the Chaos Tablet. Are you not curious why the God Tree from the Chaos Tablet would manifest in this Taz world? Wansen asked. Li Qi nodded. Very curious. Wansen Venerable answered, because the God Tree was born in this Taz world. It is native here. Li Qi frowned, turning the possibility over in his mind. Could it be? You guessed correctly. Wansen's expression softened. My Universe Mercenary Alliance's famed God Tree Venerable was originally born in this Taz world. Venerable, secret realm-born cultivators aren't, Li Qi began. It's extremely difficult for beings born inside a secret realm to break through to Universe Exalt, Wansen finished. But exceptional existences do manage it. God Tree Venerable was one of those exceptions. Wansen sighed. Because of that, many Universe Exalts respected him deeply. Had he not been limited by his secret realm origins, he might have become a universe overlord among Universe Exalts. It is a pity how completely he fell. Li Qi felt a chill. Such an astonishing figure, fallen so thoroughly, a real loss. Wanson continued, there are three common reasons a great being cannot be resurrected. First, death after soul enslavement. Second, being trapped in some unknown sealed abyss and unable to escape. Third, natural death from lifespan exhaustion. Godtree Venerable had an undying longevity, so lifespan exhaustion couldn't be the cause. His fall must have come from one of the first two. How arduous the road is for powerhouses, Wanson murmured. The universe is vast and dangerous. Even a universe exalt risks falling. Never forget reverence for this universe. Yes, Venerable, Li Qi replied with solemn respect. He had never lost that reverence. He knew how immense the primordial universe was, how beyond it lay the universe sea, and beyond that, the boundless origin continent. Nearby, the undying spiritual god Lu, who had long dwelt on comprehension of the god tree and spent most of his time cultivating, listened with surprise. He hadn't realized Li Qi's background and wondered why Wanson was speaking so freely with someone from the Virtual Universe Corporation. Enough idle talk, Wanson said, growing serious. Li Qi, you have 103 opportunities to comprehend the God Tree. Do you want to use one opportunity now for a 7-day comprehension? 103 opportunities. That's enormous. Li Qi's heart leapt. He recalled 7th Senior Brother's urging to come to Taz World. Even without the 100 opportunities earned by returning the Emerald Leaves, the usual 3 comprehension chances would be priceless. Yes, Venerable. I will use one opportunity now. Good. Wanson nodded. Go. You may not enter the inner light circle at the tree, but you can comprehend within that circle. You have 7 days. I will wake you when they end. Li Qi bowed and moved toward the God Tree. The tree stood at the tower's center. Light streaming through the tower's windows converged and pooled around the jade tree, forming a luminous circle that enveloped it. About 80% of the central space was filled by the tree and its light. The peripheries lay in shadow, as if designed to focus attention on the glowing heart. Except for the light circle, I can cultivate anywhere here, Li Qi thought as he paced, examining the tree. I mainly cultivate the space origin law, so I won't try to comprehend the leaves, which embody the wood law. I'll focus on the tree's 108 branches. He moved among the branches, testing each. This branch expresses that space law essence. I've already grasped it. This one's still a bit incomplete, and this one too. He soon found a place where several unmastered space law essences clustered. The space origin law was profound. The essences he chose were among the hardest to penetrate. Studying one branch felt like entering a forest of thought, tracing patterns in the bark, probing the deep, difficult mysteries of that law. He concentrated until at last a faint thread of insight surfaced. Time blurred. Li Qi lost track of day and night as the 7 days passed in a flash. Then a grand, echoing voice filled his mind. Wake up! Wake up! And he jolted from the God Tree's state of comprehension. The voice throbbed in his skull until it stopped. His figure flashed toward the source of the voice. When he arrived before Wanson Venerable, the echo vanished, and the headache dissolved as if it had never been. Li Qi bowed. Greetings, Venerable. Li Qi, Wanson said quietly, you have used your comprehension opportunity for this year. If you wish to continue, you must wait until next year. Understood, Li Qi bowed again. You may stay in the mansion outside the tower and return when your next opportunity comes, Wanson added. Li Qi glanced at a world lord nearby, whose comprehension lasted even longer, and asked, Venerable, why can they comprehend for such long stretches? They are core members of my Universe Mercenary Alliance, Wanson explained. Their world lord or undying rank, their law endurance and comprehension are stronger, so their sessions can be 15 days. I see. Thank you for explaining, Venerable. Wanson nodded once, saying no more. Watching Li Qi withdraw, he thought privately, Li Qi has the talent. I hope he will one day join my God Tree faction as another Venerable and perhaps become one of the pioneers on the Woodspace Fusion Beast God path. Li Qi was a prodigy, one in millions of epochs, and a disciple of a Universe Lord. His chances of rising to Universe Exalt were real. The God Tree faction, devoted to the God Tree Chaos Tablet, pursued the Woodspace Fusion laws. That path was brutally hard. Even mastering the fusion fully, ascending to Universe Lord was rare. Humanity had not yet produced a Universe Lord on the Beast God path. Great figures like the star-prisoned demon lord had stood atop universe overlords for countless years, yet failed to make that final breakthrough. Wanson sighed inwardly. For him, whose talent in the time law was limited, the beast god path was perhaps the only route to becoming a universe lord. But that path was far, far harder than anyone imagined. A short time after leaving the tower, Li Qi met Lu waiting for him. The undying spiritual god regarded the 13-meter-tall Li Qi with new respect. He had checked into Li Qi's identity and now understood why Wanson had treated him so specially. "Your Highness Li Qi," Lu greeted. "Lord Lu," Li Qi inclined his head. "Please follow me. The clan has prepared a courtyard for you." Lu led the way. They arrived at a spacious courtyard tucked in a grove. The place was tranquil. Faded yellow leaves drifted occasionally, and the wind made them rustle. The buildings and furnishings were generously sized, prepared for the giant race long ago. "If this place does not suit you, you may change residences," Lu said. Li Qi shook his head slightly. "I'm very satisfied. If you need anything, ask the mansion guards. They will arrange assistance. For urgent matters, you may also contact me or other undying spiritual gods." "Understood," Li Qi thanked him. Lu bowed and left. Alone in the pavilion, Li Qi compared the god tree he had just comprehended with the image recorded in the god tree chaos tablet. The tree here resembles the final image in the tablet, but there are differences. He thought back. The tablet's final image feels deeper, more profound. The branches here, the ones representing space law, still lack some essential mysteries. Despite the gaps, the experience had been priceless. "These comprehension opportunities will greatly aid my space law cultivation," he said, smiling. "Seventh senior brother was right. Ta's world is invaluable." Li Qi planned his cultivation, continue grasping the space law from the first branch of the Guyu ancient tree in the primitive mystical region, while his human main body in the virtual universe practiced claw techniques and cultivated god tree insights. "I will stay in this Tas world for 100 years, he resolved. With the god tree's help, how far could my law comprehension go? He split off a portion of his consciousness and slipped into the virtual universe to practice the god tree true understanding and claw techniques in his primal zone manner. In the real world, his main body cultivated the Yuan Chong Ruyi body to increase its physical amplitude. More than 60 years passed. The new secret realm competition approached. In manor number 111, Rain Phase Mountain original area of the virtual universe, Li Qi sat in his study and watched the light screen. He muttered, "Fei passed the 5th level of the heavenly bridge, and Man Lei cleared the 4th. They'll almost certainly earn spots in the heaven and earth secret realm. The others don't stand a chance." Secret realm competitions were brutal. Those who underperformed might be eliminated into a worse secret realm. In the virtual universe's long history, some had fallen from the primitive mystical region all the way down to the doomsday secret realm. In this contest, KD should be able to show most of his strength. He can't lose to Wu Shaiwen again, can he? Li Qi wondered. In the last competition, KD had suffered 2 surprising defeats in the internal reincarnation battles of the primitive mystical region. Fortunately, he recovered and won 3 straight in the primitive mystical region quota rounds. Otherwise, with law comprehension only at the 10th level of the heavenly bridge, slipping into the highest beginning mythical region would have been disastrous. It's a pity KD couldn't go all out back then. If he had, I might have been able to beat him. During his 60-plus years of secluded cultivation, Li Qi's law comprehension had leapt forward. Apart from 11 profound essences still in progress, he had mastered nearly every other space law essence. That placed him solidly at the 11th level of the heavenly bridge. Once he fully comprehended all 108 essences he aimed for, he would reach the 12th level. In over 60 years, I've used 43 God Tree comprehension opportunities, he reflected, and I still have roughly 60 left. In the remaining 20-plus years before my planned 100-year mark, I'll use up to 20 more. The rest I'll save until I reach World Lord, when comprehension comes faster. Territory Lord is only a transition. Breaking to World Lord quickly is the royal road. 2 days later, the second Secret Realm competition began. Another Secret Realm scramble has begun. Heaven and Earth Secret Realm. I have to get into the Heaven and Earth Secret Realm this time. With my current law comprehension, I have a shot at a primal zone spot, maybe even the highest beginning mythical region, but I can't be certain. Still, I'll give it everything and leave no regrets. Last time, in the scramble for a primal zone spot, I stood no chance against KD when he'd reached the 10th level of the Heavenly Bridge. This time, he won't mess up 2 rounds in a row in the internal reincarnation battle. The universe rank Secret Realm scramble, held every 100 years, had arrived. Veterans who had cultivated for thousands or even tens of thousands of years, convinced their law comprehension and combat strength were enough, hungered for promotion to a better secret realm. Better realms meant richer resources and far better benefits. Even the discount on points alone drew most geniuses like a magnet. But among Li Qi's generation, particularly those who'd been dropped into the Heaven and Earth secret realm last scramble, few felt optimistic about this new contest. Alas, my cultivation time is too short. Compared with those elders who've been refining in the Virtual Universe Corporation's core layer for millennia, my law comprehension is so low. This time, I'll probably fall to the Doomsday Secret Realm. If only I could cultivate for another 500 years, I'd be certain of staying in the Heaven and Earth Secret Realm. Maybe even challenging the highest beginning mythical region, but time doesn't wait. Even though I'm in the core layer of the Virtual Universe Corporation, I'm still far from true prodigy level. KD and Li Qi, they're on a different path. On the eve of the scramble, everyone had their own knot of worry. Some reluctant, some resigned, some full of sour longing. In the Heaven and Earth zone of Yuxiang Mountain, inside a villa, Nuno, horned at the brow and with a few scales on his face, roared in frustration. Doomsday Secret Realm. They'll send me to the Doomsday Secret Realm. Unfair. So unfair. Nuno had been a top 3 law prodigy in his generation. At the astral rank during the peak genius battle, he had already comprehended 2 lower-level laws and 1 upper-level law. Yet now, he faced the prospect of being eliminated to the Doomsday Secret Realm. Worse still, Li Qi, the one he used to look down on, remained in the primal zone and had even become a disciple of a great being like the Yan God clan's leader, Emperor Yan. Fei had already reached the 5th level of the Heavenly Bridge, and even the chubby man Li's law comprehension was at the 5th level, so staying in the Heaven and Earth Secret Realm seemed assured for them. In contrast, the once arrogant Nuno felt utterly miserable. In another villa, Manly grinned as he scanned the Heaven and Earth Secret Realm's universe rank strength data. 5th level of the Heavenly Bridge, 5th level, still 5th level, he chuckled. I'm not far from the 6th. I must thank Li Qi, he really helped me. If Li Qi hadn't given him the cloud mist wine from the Blood Luo world, Manly would never have discovered the Cultivation mission world's hidden opportunity. After over 100 years in the Blood Luo world, he'd finally fused a 3rd Blood River crystal and become a Blood Warrior, revered across the Blood Luo continent. The title granted him 100,000 points, and activating Blood Luo power doubled his affinity with the universe origin. Both his law affinity and law attack power doubled. It was a tremendous boon. At Manor number 112 in the Primal Zone, Wu Shewin sat on the study sofa, studying the profiles of the highest beginning mythical region's universe rank members who could vie for Primal Zone spots. She wasn't hopeful about the upcoming Primal Zone internal reincarnation battle. Having reached the 9th level of the Heavenly Bridge, she remembered how terrifying the 10th level had seemed, and didn't believe she could match KD or Li Qi. She had defeated KD in the last scramble, but KD had been in an abnormal state then, possibly using no more than 1/10 of his power, so her victory hadn't proved much. KD wouldn't make the same mistake again. Right now, no member in the highest beginning mythical region has passed the 9th level of the Heavenly Bridge, she told herself. With my strength, staying in the Primal Zone should be guaranteed. Still, she warned herself not to be careless. Hidden strength had overturned contests before, and she couldn't afford to be surprised. The Virtual Universe System's voice echoed in her mind. Wu Shewin, the Primal Zone internal reincarnation battle. Your first match begins. Your opponent, KD. Soon the result came in. KD defeated Wu Shewin in the first match. Observers watching the broadcast noticed something odd. KD's state seemed off. A large portion of his consciousness appeared not to have entered the virtual universe. Undying spiritual gods backing KD were puzzled. What's wrong with KD? He had problems the last scramble, and now again after 100 years? Maybe he's trapped in some dangerous cultivation mission world and can't send all his consciousness into the virtual universe, others guessed. Some who'd staked heavily on KD grew anxious. Their bets counted on him crushing Li Qi, while cooler heads defended the prodigy. KD must have reasons, they said. A prodigy who once reached the 10th level of the Heavenly Bridge in Primordial Chaos City can afford to be capricious now and then. There are only 3 universe-ranked contestants in the Primal Zone. KD only needs to win 1 match to stay. No need for reckless risks. Supporters of Li Qi brightened at the news. If KD can't use his full strength, Li Qi stands a better chance. Last time KD was in terrible condition, Wu Shaiwen beat him. That victory didn't mean much. This time, with Li Qi in good form, a win would be impressive. After KD's match finished and a rest period passed, Li Qi's turn arrived. The virtual universe system announced, Li Qi, the Primal Zone Internal Reincarnation Battle. Your first match begins. Your opponent, Wu Shaiwen. He materialized in the battleground, a desert world of yellow sand and rolling dust. Li Qi, clad in black battle attire, wore 2 arm shields and ferocious black gauntlets. Across from him, Wu Shaiwen hovered on a light-winged mind energy weapon in a white robe, a translucent halo slowly turning behind her. This was their second encounter in a secret realm scramble. This time they didn't exchange words. As the battle began, they attacked instantly. Boom! The time wheel behind Wu Shaiwen burst with light. Threads of temporal radiance sliced outward like a web. Li Qi's figure blurred and split into multiple afterimages, each moving from different angles. The threads pierced through these images like light through shadow. The decoys vanished one by one. Li Qi clapped, condensing terrifying law energy in his palm to shatter the incoming shafts of light. Now! Wu Shaiwen willed, pouring mind power into her move. The time law surged. The scattered light condensed into a colossal sword of golden brilliance that surged toward Li Qi like a dawn-piercing night. Compared to 100 years ago, I can now freely unleash this, the final move of the time wheel. To Wu Shaiwen, the golden blade seemed to devour surrounding light. Wherever it passed was darkness before the dawn. Li Qi watched, impressed despite himself. A good attack, but still insufficient. He struck casually with his palm. A dark light tore space itself, revealing a jagged spatial rift. On his ferocious gauntlet, space law power coalesced into an overwhelming strike that met the golden blade. The time sword began to twist and warp, its light destabilizing as the space law eroded and interfered with it. With a thunderous impact, Li Qi's gauntleted blow shattered the golden sword into scattered motes of light that drifted in the sand. How is that possible? Wu Shaiwen's composure broke as blood seeped from her lips. The final move of the time wheel should have been nearly equivalent to a Heavenly Bridge 10th level attack, yet Li Qi had broken it in one blow. She hadn't even managed to force him to use a true secret technique. Before she could react, Li Qi flashed to her side and pressed his palm against her temple. Slap! In the vast desert, blood and spittle scattered on the wind. Back at Manor No. 112, Wu Shaiwen sat stunned on her sofa, whispering, how could he be this strong? She had expected to lose, but not so utterly. To beat me so easily, his law comprehension must be close to the 11th level of the Heavenly Bridge, she muttered. Losing to such a prodigy is not dishonorable. Next, the final match in the Primal Zone Internal Reincarnation Battle, KD versus Li Qi, she added, curiosity pricking her. Everyone watched the live broadcast for that final face-off. This will be more exciting than the last match, commentators said. If KD isn't at full strength, Li Qi's chances rise. The countdown ticked. 13, 12, 10, 3, 2, 1. When the clock hit 0, nothing appeared in the battle space. The spectators stared in confusion. Then the screen flipped to standard system text. KD forfeits. Li Qi wins. Primal Zone Internal Reincarnation Battle concluded. Records. Li Qi, 2 wins, 0 losses. KD, 1 win, 1 loss. Wu Shaiwen, 0 wins, 2 losses. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the viewers. KD actually forfeited? I didn't expect that. KD still won 1 match. He can stay in the Primal Zone. Forfeiting is fine as long as he keeps his spot. With that, the scramble in the primal zone ended. At Manor number 111, Li Qi sat back on his sofa and opened an email KD had sent before forfeiting. The short message read, Li Qi, my current condition prevents me from fully engaging in our duel. Our true match will have to wait a long time, perhaps 200 or 300 years. Li Qi smiled and murmured, 200 or 300 years, I can wait. He paused, thoughtful. This duel might not happen in just 200 or 300 years. He felt his own law comprehension closing in on the 12th level of the heavenly bridge. If I seclude and cultivate in the Taz world for another 20-odd years, there's a very high chance I'll master the remaining space law essences. After that, I'll challenge the universe rank at original Tongqian Mountain. If I pass, I'll break through to become a territory lord, and the territory lord rank secret realm scramble only happens once every 1,000 years. About to close the screen, he noticed another unread email. The sender was his younger brother, 13, Jerry Royce. The subject line was terse. The 3 sons have been brutal lately. The spirit I'd recovered with the Chinese medicine is gone again. 11. You're one of the people I respect most. Ever since you entered the stellar cultivation camp, I've been chasing your shadow. I thought joining the camp would bring me closer to you, but once I was really inside, I realized how vast the gap is, so vast that my talent will never let me catch up. Now there's an opportunity, right in front of me, to change my talent. I won't give it up. I'll take the chance. Even if I fail, I won't regret it. 13. Li Qi frowned as he opened the message on his light screen. The words were strange enough to prick a cold premonition into his chest. In the Royce family's first 3 generations, only a few had cultivation talent. 13, Jerry was one of them, but his talent was near the bottom. The household ranking read from highest to lowest. Li Qi, Ron, second dad, Eric, big brother, Gary, 13, Ivanko, third dad. Li Qi needed no introduction. His comprehension of the laws had already reached the terrifying 11th level of the heavenly bridge. When he eventually passed the 12th, he would be hailed as a prodigy-level genius who appeared once every tens of millions of eras. Ron Royce, praised by the Lava World Master back when he was at the Stellar Cultivation Camp, had proven his talent early. He'd cultivated his domain to the 5th level before dying in his 50s. Eric had comprehended his domain when the United Cultivation Camp was breached at 28. By contrast, Jerry had taken nearly 100 years to comprehend his domain despite abundant resources. His talent simply could not compare. Xiaoxi, contact Gary Royce, Li Qi said, voice tight. Contacting Jerry Royce. Xiaoxi's optical sensor glowed faintly. After a moment, she replied, Master, Jerry Royce is not answering. Li Qi glanced at the message timestamp. The email had arrived half a month ago. Half a month ago. His heart dropped. Contact Big Brother Eric immediately. Connecting to Eric Ron Royce. Xiaoxi's light blinked and a new screen unfolded. Big Brother Eric's face looked a little haggard when the feed connected. 11, he said when he saw Li Qi. What's going on with 13? Why can't I reach him? Li Qi demanded. Eric didn't dodge the question. Jerry is attempting to possess a blazing behemoth. Attempting to possess a blazing behemoth. Li Qi sprang up. Where did he get the nerve? You don't just possess a blazing behemoth. A blazing behemoth was a starry-sky giant beast of a top tier, second only to the Peak 12 bloodlines. It had fierce innate secret arts and legacy memories. In the original tales, even someone as strong-willed as Luo Feng needed Hu Yanbo's soul imprint art to possess a golden horned beast and nearly died doing it. If even Luo Feng struggled, then Jerry, an astral rank with ordinary talent, was in grave danger. Eric explained, Jerry cultivated an auxiliary soul secret art for possession. That raises the success rate, but there's still a real chance of failure. He rotated the camera. On the screen lay a giant creature 200 or 300 meters long, dark red scales rippling across a tiger-like body, 3 spiraled horns on its head. It lay with its eyes closed, but even sleeping it radiated a brutal, blistering heat that cracked the ground around it. How did he get a blazing behemoth? Li Qi asked. Eric gave the background. Blazing behemoths were fire-attributed, hatched from volcanoes as apprentices, feeding on thermal energy to grow. A blazing behemoth with an 8-fold life gene could reach World Lord peak strength and live far longer than humans. Such beasts were extremely rare in human territory. Any top-tier starry sky giant beast with astral rank often started auctions at several thousand hunyuan. Many immortal military lords couldn't afford that, and the Royce family's funds amounted to less than 1,000 hunyuan. This one was a gift from immortal military lord Rong Dian Hao, Eric said. Rong Dian Hao, a Marquis-level undying, had once served as envoy for the Qianwu country lord. Why would he give a gift like that? And why did Jerry? Li Qi asked, frowning. Rong Dian Hao claims to be sworn brothers with the Lava World Master, Eric said. He gave the blazing behemoth to thank you for helping the Lava World Master fulfill a long-cherished wish. Li Qi remembered. After Li Qi's stellar performance in the peak genius battle, the Lava World Master had become a named disciple of the Qianwu country lord. A future territory lord from the primitive mystical region like Li Qi would be significant. When he broke through, he'd be dispatched back to the Qianwu universe country as an inspector, an extraordinary post. Befriending a future sixth great giant like Li Qi was valuable for any undying. A Marquis-level undying like Rong Dian Hao would gladly curry favor. So why did Jerry try to possess it if the gift was meant for me? Does he know how risky this is? Li Qi asked. Eric's voice tightened. We warned him, but when Rong Dian Hao sent the beast, he also sent an auxiliary possession secret art. Jerry cultivated that and then attempted the possession. You should have stopped him, Li Qi said. It wasn't the beast's worth he worried about. If the possession succeeded, the blazing behemoth's body would be invaluable as material for a clone. It was Gary's life he feared for. Possession was a reshaping of soul and body. Only a few life forms had cloned secret arts, and even among powerful cultivators, few chose to possess, because the process often required abandoning the original body's talents. A clone's inherited racial talent was fixed. Other talents were random. For someone like Li Qi, with exceedingly high main body talent across multiple origin laws, it would be insanity to give up his body and gamble on random talent. Jerry, however, was highly competitive and determined never to be left behind. He wanted to seize any opportunity, even a dangerous one. Eric sighed. You and Jerry grew up together. You know him. He can't be content with his current level. He doesn't want to just participate in the peak genius battle in 4,000 years and fail to make the finals. The auxiliary secret art made him believe the odds were worth taking. Li Qi fell silent. The peak genius battle was held twice every 10,000 years, once by the Virtual Universe Corporation and once by the Great Axe Battleground. The next one would be in 4,700 years, hosted by the Great Axe Battleground. That sounded like a long time, but Jerry's talent would make it extremely difficult for him to make the necessary breakthroughs in that span. An astral rank lifespan was 10,081 years. If Jerry couldn't advance by the next peak genius battle, his only option would be to break through to universe rank and then compete in the peak powerhouse battle held every 25,000 years, which was far more brutal. In the peak genius battle, first-level Heavenly Bridge comprehension could win you a session. In the peak powerhouse battle, the first level might only scrape into the top 1,000. To win, you needed at least the third level. When did he start the possession? Li Qi asked. The same day he sent that email, Eric said. Half a month had passed since then. Possession was a battle of soul will. If one side's soul will dominated, the clash could end quickly. If the wills were close, it could be a long slog, months or even years. Li Qi asked, has the blazing behemoth shown any change? No change, Eric replied. It's a stalemate. What about Jerry's body? Li Qi demanded. Eric's feed cut to a metal cabin bathed in nutrient solution. Through the transparent lid, Li Qi saw Jerry, pale, calm, his bare chest rising and falling as he floated naked in the solution. Jerry, seeing his face, sent a cold pressure through Li Qi's chest. Big brother, I'm leaving Jerry in your care, Li Qi said softly. If the possession succeeds, his body must be preserved intact. The blazing behemoth's body could be used for the clone. I'll take good care of him. Eric promised. Contact me if anything changes. Li Qi closed the light screen. He needed to get his frustration out somewhere else. He went to challenge the Heavenly Bridge, Tongqian Bridge Plain, the central square of the Holy Island where Guardian Baffin stood vigil. A white streak of light announced Li Qi's arrival. Ah, Li Qi, Baffin greeted. Li Qi forced a smile. Is anyone at the God Tree Tongqian Bridge? No one, Li Qi replied. I'll go challenge it. Baifeng noticed the stiffness in his expression. He looks troubled, but if he's coming to challenge, he must be confident he can pass the 11th level this time. As Li Qi transformed into light and rose toward the god tree, Baifeng sent a mass notification to the champion-level Undying and Exalts who followed Li Qi, and to core members of Li Qi's generation. The message spread fast. Li Qi is going for the 11th level of the Heavenly Bridge. Does that mean he's confident he'll pass? If he passes the 11th level, his law comprehension will exceed KD. Surpass KD? That'll shock a lot of Exalts. I have to watch this rare occasion. Many champion-level and Marquise-level Undying who received the alert flocked to the Tongqian Bridge Plain to watch the live broadcast. Among the universe Exalts, reaction was more measured. They already suspected KD had taken one of the ice-cold God General's legacy halls, and accepting even part of that legacy would give KD a qualitative boost and a better shot at the original Tongqian Mountain Challenge later. In the universe rank Secret Realm competition, the core members who were still engaged in their trials were stunned to hear Li Qi would attempt the 11th level now. Some wanted to go watch, but they were trapped in the Secret Realm trials. Under all these circumstances, Jerry's dangerous gamble and the sudden stakes around Li Qi, he began his challenge of the 11th level of the Heavenly Bridge. Chapter 214, Black Warrior God Tree Tongtian Bridge, 11th level. Beneath the bridge, the magma glowed crimson, wisps of heat smoke rising and distorting the air. Li Qi streaked through the scorching haze like a bolt of black light, heading straight for the end of the 11th level. 13 is really too reckless, he thought. He had originally planned to wait, fully comprehend all essences of the space law, and reach the 12th level, before attempting the Tongqian Bridge. But 13's reckless possession of the blazing behemoth left him with pent-up rage. Needing an outlet, he abandoned the plan and challenged the bridge immediately. At the end of the 11th level, the magma trembled and a deep voice rumbled. Choose your opponent, martial artist, controller, or illusionist. Defeat him to pass the 11th level. Martial artist, Li Qi answered. The magma churned, spitting earthy yellow lights that gathered into a masked figure clad in dirt-yellow armor, arm shields, and claw-like weapons. A universe-level 9th Order coming to challenge the 11th level. It's been a long time since such an outstanding junior appeared, the yellow-clad guardian intoned. Li Qi did not answer. His face set, he flickered forward like a streak of black lightning. Law power gathered on his sinister black gauntlets, and he struck. The guardian tried to dodge, but Li Qi's speed and movement technique closed the distance too fast. The yellow-clad man's expression shifted. As the 11th level guardian, he had the lower limit comprehension, movement skill, and attack techniques for this platform, yet even so, he couldn't evade Li Qi's assault. He cast out two intersecting yellow claw shadows that warped space and lunged at Li Qi. Li Qi didn't retreat. He snapped his hands together, and two streaks of pitch-black light tore through the air, his speed spiking even further. Space seemed rent. Dim fissures opened and swallowed the yellow claw shadows without ripple. Li Qi surged in and hammered the guardian with his black gauntlets. The guardian scrambled to parry, clangs ringing as he met blow after blow. Then, like an ancient wild beast's roar, a savage cry shook the heart nature. A massive claw shadow, 2 meters long, slashed down, smashing into the guardian and imprinting itself on his body. He slammed onto the bridge surface, and for an instant the invisible shockwave dispelled the heat from the magma beneath. The guardian tried to flash away, but Li Qi was already on him, clawing out with relentless, beast-like strikes. Their clash became a storm of metal and fury, Li Qi's attacks accompanied by soul-shaking roars that forced the guardian onto the defensive. Spectators watching the live broadcast in the island plaza, the undying spiritual gods, reacted with surprise. Is he venting his anger? One murmured. He's brutalizing the guardian. His comprehension must exceed the average 11th level, another said. Is this some beast god technique? He's fighting like a vicious beast. Universe exalts in their palaces watched in interest too, focused less on gossip and more on the fighting style itself. A black claw traced an arc through space and tore at the guardian's head. After nearly half a minute of brutal assault, The yellow-clad man's head shattered, scattering into earthy yellow light that fell back into the magma. The 11th level trembled, the crimson magma vanished in a vibration, and solid land appeared in its place. Li Qi let out a long breath. Killing the Guardian had eased some of his frustration, though a faint, nagging incompleteness remained. Since his comprehension fell short of the 12th level, he didn't bother attempting it. He logged off and left the virtual universe. Those undying spiritual gods, still watching, debated quietly. He didn't try the 12th level, probably lacks the confidence. Too bad, I wanted to see how close he was. Even so, Li Qi has already surpassed KD. That's temporary. KD hasn't challenged the bridge since Primordial Chaos City. When he does, he might overtake Li Qi. Opinions swayed, support shifted as Li Qi pulled ahead in bridge levels. Primordial Universe, Glory's Secret Realm, Ta's World. Li Qi returned from the virtual universe, released the 100-meter Guyu Ancient Tree second branch, and let his main body enter the world ring. On the vast land inside the ring, his human main body sat cross-legged, height restored to 238 meters after deactivating the Yuan Cheng Ru Yi body secret technique, over 100 meters tall even while seated, like a small mountain. More than 100 years since I fused Blood River crystals, he thought. His last fusion had been in the Blood Luo world during a cultivation mission. After merging 3 crystals in the ancient god ruins, he had not fused more since. With his body enlarged, the upper limit for fusing Blood River crystals rose. A normal human hits their limit after 100 crystals, but with greater body volume, the Blood Luo power's coverage becomes segmented. Separate limbs and torso each take their share. Before his body grew, the Blood Luo secret patterns could cover his chest entirely. Li Qi removed his battle armor and cloud-caressing vine armor, exposing his chest. He activated Blood Luo power and crimson secret patterns bloomed, simple in appearance but unified and mysterious, capable of multiplying his affinity with the universe origin. Now, however, the patterns covered only a small torso area, though their overall effect remained. Comprehending the God Tree accelerates my space law progress, but the God Tree's essences are incomplete, he mused. Full mastery required both the God Tree true understanding, technique, and ordinary space law cultivation. Fusing more Blood River crystals would produce qualitative jumps, 3, 10, 100 crystals, multiplying affinity by 1, 3, and 10 times respectively, accelerating law comprehension. He drew a Blood River crystal to his chest. Simply contemplating the God Tree wouldn't suffice. He needed fusion. He cut a half-meter wound across his chest. Blood welled, and then, almost instantly, the flesh began to crawl closed. The body's recovery is too fast. This isn't all good. He pressed the crystal into the fresh wound. A surge of killing intent slammed into his will, but he held firm. The 4th crystal could not break him. He activated Blood Luo power. The crimson patterns increased, and his affinity rose a little. He methodically repeated the process. Each crystal unleashed fiercer killing intent, striking at his will, but Li Qi met them one by one. The 5th, then 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th crystals fused in turn. By the 9th he groaned. His eyes took on a faint crimson tint as the killing intent hammered and honed his will. Still, it remained within his tolerance. His life gene level was 128 times normal, and his body height 238 meters. These physical advantages helped. Now came the crucial 10th crystal. 10 fused meant becoming a black warrior of Blood River crystals. Activating Blood Luo power would triple his affinity with the universe origin, dramatically boosting both law comprehension and law attack power. He carved a deep wound and set the 10th crystal in. The cumulative killing intent that had been building now surged into a frenzy, clashing endlessly with his will. Shouts of battle and wild roars filled his sea of consciousness, the ferocious, tyrannical will striking again and again. Pain ravaged him. Li Qi fell to the ground, teeth gritted, body convulsing. He pounded the earth with his fists as sweat streamed down his face. The agony surpassed even the torment of cultivating the distortion eye. The pressure of the fusion affected his soul. The Guyu ancient tree main trunk and first branch tree trembled in the primitive mystical region estate. The second branch in Ta's world shook violently, and the courtyard felt tremors for kilometers. His body flickered, faint golden scales here, pitch black, unnaturally hard flesh there, until finally his body returned to normal, and the pain faded. He breathed out, exhausted. He activated Blood Luo power. Crimson secret patterns spread across his torso in complex, perfect designs, far more intricate than the markings after merging 3 crystals. They formed a unified whole, and importantly, now covered his torso rather than a mere patch on his chest. Li Qi could feel his affinity with the universe origin had tripled. Law comprehension, law attack, both were boosted threefold. He closed his eyes for a long moment, tasting the new power. "This is the power of a black warrior," he murmured. After successfully fusing 10 Blood River crystals and becoming a black warrior, Li Qi stepped out of his world ring and recalled the second branch of his Guyu ancient tree. Fusing the 10th crystal caused a lot of pain. Someone will come checking soon. He knew this place was important. With a god tree that aided law comprehension, any disturbance would draw attention. Sure enough, less than a minute after he emerged, a world lord knocked and, after a brief inquiry, left. Li Qi assessed quietly. "Becoming a black warrior multiplies my Blood Luo power's compatibility with my universe origin by threefold. My law comprehension rate should increase at least 3 times. As he activated his Blood Luo power, intricate blood-red sigils bloomed across his body beneath his battle armor, allowing him to perceive law fluctuations with crystalline clarity. This feeling, it's incredible. The threefold increase in universe origin compatibility sent his wood origin law affinity soaring. If he wished, he could rapidly push wood origin toward the law recognition imprint. Besides wood, his human main body already showed slightly higher aptitude in the 4 lesser laws, gold, water, fire, and earth, than it did in space origin law. Li Qi considered the strategy. Maybe after I become a world lord, I can try to reach law recognition for those 4 lesser laws, or even fully comprehend them. They all fall under the lesser laws of space origin. If I master them all, will it make space easier? Many world lords in Undying with average talent had accessed higher laws through their lesser laws, so it might help. He set himself a not small goal. After breaking through to world lord, try to comprehend all 5 lesser laws of space, and then press toward the full space origin law. He returned to studying space law, aiming to master all 108 essences. Years slipped by. In the span of a little over 1 year, using his Blood Luo power, he steadily deepened his grasp of space law and also studied the God Tree again, successfully comprehending another profound essence of space law. "Master, there's a call request from Big Brother Eric." Xiaoxi's voice suddenly echoed in his mind while he cultivated the God Tree true understanding technique in his manner in the Rain Phase Mountain original area. Li Qi smiled inwardly. "I hope it's news that 13 successfully possessed the blazing behemoth." He woke from cultivation at once. "Connect." A light screen opened. Big Brother Eric's face appeared, relaxed and smiling. 11, I have good news." Li Qi asked, anxious. "Did 13 succeed in possessing the blazing behemoth?" "He did," Eric grinned. 13 succeeded. Relief flooded Li Qi. "That's good. Show me his current state," he added. "Okay." Eric flew up and hovered so Li Qi could view the blazing behemoth's head on the other side of the screen. The beast's head looked like a tiger's, cloaked in dark red scales, with angular ears and nose, and 3 spiral horns on its forehead and between its brows. Even through the light screen, a scorching, oppressive aura radiated from it. "Brother 11. The blazing behemoth's huge mouth opened slightly, revealing stark white fangs, and a hoarse but restrained voice spoke in the universal common language. The creature called him Brother 11. Li Qi smiled and answered, 13. "Sorry, Brother 11, 13 said, a hint of apology heavy in its dark red vertical pupil. "I took the liberty of using the gift Undying Spiritual God Rong Dianhao gave you." Li Qi's smile faded. 13. "When I learned you'd attempted to possess the blazing behemoth, I was furious." "Sorry, Brother 11. I shouldn't have touched your gift." 13 tried to explain. Li Qi cut him off with a raised hand. "It's not that you used the gift. It's that you dared to possess the blazing behemoth on your own. Do you know how worried we were? Blazing behemoths commanded auction prices from a few thousand to hundreds of thousands of hunyuan. Compared to that, Li Qi's concern for his brother mattered infinitely more. He continued in a deeper voice, "If you had told me first, I could have used my standing in the Virtual Universe Corporation to reduce the risks for you." Big brother stayed here to guard you, and second dad covered your recklessness, blocking other family members from learning you nearly died. 13's huge pupil contracted in shame. Sorry, big brother. I made you worry. Eric's relieved voice came through the screen. It's good you're okay. Li Qi's tone turned stern. Never lose your caution and reverence. The universe is vast and dangerous. Opportunities exist, yes, but dangers are everywhere. Lose caution now, and even if you pass the peak genius battle in 4,000 years and enter the Great Axe Battleground core layer, there's a high chance you'll fall while growing. He added, don't do something you're not confident you can handle. Even if you later gain the ability to create clones, remember, clones aren't invincible. I understand, 13 answered solemnly. I will remember, Brother 11. Li Qi nodded. Starry sky giant beasts are ferocious and bloodthirsty, especially the devourers. Can you suppress the blazing behemoth's bloodthirst? 13 thought a moment. It affects me, but I can suppress it for now. If it lasts longer than 2 or 3 years, I'll need to vent. Li Qi acknowledged that. 13's will was strong, one reason he'd managed to win the clash of wills required for possession. The blazing behemoth wasn't an easy life form to control. It had 3 innate secret arts beyond imagination. Devour, to consume flame energy for growth and to rapidly restore wounds. Clone, which could nurture a clone that wouldn't die unless its core was destroyed. And blazing, a brutal ability that could instantly multiply attack power 5-fold. Its legacy memories held even more devastating techniques. One could amplify power 16 times when fully cultivated, and with blazing combined, that could mean dozens of times amplification. A peak world lord rank blazing behemoth could contest ordinary undying spiritual gods. If you hadn't attempted possession alone, Li Qi continued, I could have helped ensure you survived it. He went on, the blazing behemoth's clone can nurture your human body. You can let the beast break through to universe rank while your main body stays at astral rank to enter the peak genius battle. But under no circumstance should your blazing behemoth clone reach territory lord rank during the competition. Otherwise, you risk invalidation. Using a universe rank clone to cultivate laws and sending the human body to compete is probably the tacit limit the human race allows. If a territory lord clone fought astral rank geniuses, that'd be unfair and disqualifying. Understood, 13 said, taking the advice to heart. Li Qi continued with practicalities. The blazing behemoth grows by devouring flame energy. If it only feeds on volcanoes or stars, it will take a huge amount to reach peak. Our human territory has many substitutes for flame energy. I'll give Sixth Uncle a list. He'll help buy the resources. That will be enough for your blazing behemoth clone to break through to universe rank. Be clear, a blazing behemoth worth thousands or tens of thousands of Hunyuan isn't easy to obtain, Li Qi said. The family will only supply resources up to universe rank. If you want more, you'll have to earn them yourself. Whether you make it into the Great Axe Battleground core layer or fall in the Qianwu secret realm during the peak genius battle depends on your own luck and effort. Don't waste the blazing behemoth you risked your life to possess. I will make it to the core layer, 13 declared firmly. Big brother. Eric's face reappeared on the screen. Li Qi spoke up. For now, you two should cultivate in the lava secret realm. Once I break through to territory lord rank and return, I'll find a teacher for you who specializes in fire and space laws. That will help you in the next peak genius battle. Eric and his son both awakened fire attribute genetic primal energy. 13 had originally awakened earth attribute genetic primal energy, but after possessing the blazing behemoth, his fire aptitude rose noticeably. A teacher skilled in both fire and space would suit them well. Thank you, 11, Eric said. It's what I should do, Li Qi replied with a smile. If all of you reach the core layer, things will be easier for me later. We'll work toward that, Eric promised. After a bit more small talk, Li Qi ended the call. Hanging up, he exhaled a long, relieved breath. 13's success took a weight off his chest. Now his plan was clear. Finish comprehending space law, all 108 essences, then focus on cultivating the amplification secret art, Yuan Cheng Ruyi body, and the soul secret art, distortion eye. Passing the 11th level of the heavenly bridge had earned him over 200,000 points. so he could easily purchase the first 3 volumes of Distortion Eye at a 30% discount for 63,000 points. In the virtual universe, Heavenly Bridge and Mount Tongtian tests equalize physical qualities and instead measure law comprehension, secret arts, movement techniques, amplification, and soul will. Heavenly Bridge primarily tests law comprehension. Mount Tongtian is more demanding and comprehensive. It has 3 stages: peak, mountainside, and foot, each guarded by 3 opponents. The Tauren representing martial artists, the Ape Man representing controllers, and the Snake Woman representing illusionists. Facing champions of 3 major factions at once means a challenger must be strong in every aspect. One weak link and you fail. Li Qi's physical techniques and amplification were strong. His only relative weakness was his soul secret art. He had cultivated the 2nd layer of Distortion Eye to major achievement, and with his peak World Lord will, could likely withstand the Snake Woman's illusions at the mountain peak. Still, he wanted the safety of deeper cultivation, so he planned to spend more time on the 3rd layer and gain certainty. He intended to pass original Tongtian Mountain in one attempt, rather than risk failure and a repeat. He wanted to prove he was not inferior to KD, perhaps even surpass him. 100 years, Li Qi murmured as he sat on the manor's study sofa and read an email KD had sent after the Secret Realm battle on the light screen. By the time you emerge from the desperate rank Cultivation mission world, I'll have passed the universe original Tongtian Mountain and broken through to Territory Lord rank. I'll keep leading, whether it's the Lord of Domain level original Tongtian Mountain or the World Lord rank original Tongtian Mountain. Though they were friends and fellow prodigies, Li Qi would not be content to be eclipsed. He returned to cultivation, time folding over him once more. When he finally looked up, more than 20 years had passed in the blink of an eye. Virtual Universe, Rain Phase Mountain Original Area, Manor Wonder 11 Training Ground. Venerable Lingtu, hairless-skinned and smooth-faced, stood a few meters from Li Qi. Between them hung a dark, rippling tier in space, the space law itself visible in its depths. Lingtu's lips moved as he pointed occasionally at the rift. Li Qi listened and nodded. When his guidance ended, Lingtu made a gentle motion and the rent in space snapped shut, as if erased. The air between them returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. Junior brother, your progress over the last 100 years has been astonishing. You've fully comprehended all 108 essences of the space law. Lingtu sighed. He met Li Qi every 10 years to teach him, and each time the younger man's advancement outstripped expectations. With your current understanding of the law, you could already pass the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge. Lingtu's brow creased. Then why haven't you gone to attempt it? Li Qi's face tightened with resolve. Senior brother, many venerables believe my future achievements won't surpass KD. That's what most think. Lingtu nodded. I don't accept that, Li Qi said quietly. KD is talented, but my talent is no less. I will make them see that Li Qi can equal or even surpass him. Lingtu considered him for a long moment, then continued. Beyond your leap in the space law, your wood-space fusion laws have reached entry level. That's a true step onto the beast god path. Although Katie cultivated both time and space laws and was unusually gifted in both, most cultivators could never fully master even one major law. Many at the king title limit or the king undefeated stage were stalled at the final step of comprehending a single major law. Even a great overlord like the Sky Devour Palace Master, who wandered the universe, was stuck at the last step of becoming a universe lord, unable to grasp the time law. That Li Qi had already touched the wood-space fusion laws was remarkable. To reach entry level on the wood-space fusion laws, I owe you some thanks, Li Qi said with a faint smile, for the information you gave me in Taz World. Were you in Taz World? Lingtu's expression sharpened. Taz World only gives 3 comprehension chances. How did you advance so quickly? Li Qi smiled. Normally, the God Tree, there does indeed grant only 3 opportunities. I was fortunate to obtain a sacred object while I was there. After I returned it, the world granted me dozens of extra comprehension chances. Dozens. Lingtu's envy was plain. If he had had such luck, his own strength might have climbed further. The God Tree of Taz World was treasured for comprehending wood and space. It assisted with wood-space fusion to a degree only slightly inferior to a chaos tablet. Ling-Tu himself had improved his space law greatly after 3 comprehensions while working the 9-universe chaos tablet in Ta's world. For Li Qi to have dozens more chances, rapid progress was expected, and the fact that he had already brushed the fusion laws confirmed a rare aptitude on the beast god path. "So what are your plans?" Ling-Tu asked. Then, more pointedly, do you intend to pass the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge and challenge the universe rank original Tongqin Mountain? Yes. Li Qi nodded. The original Tongqin Mountain is no easy trial, Ling-Tu said. In the long history of our virtual universe corporation, even some peerless geniuses who passed the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge failed the universe rank original Tongqin Mountain. He paused, then added, "However, with the Yuan Chongruyi body's secret technique, you have a chance." As a disciple of Ice Peak Lord, Ling-Tu understood his teacher's habits. Ice Peak Lord was reclusive and aloof, but generous with his disciples. Even those who failed tests sometimes received treasures or secret techniques before venturing into the outer battlefields. It wasn't surprising Li Qi, Ice Peak Lord's youngest personal disciple, had been taught the Yuan Chongruyi body. But the technique was precious. Ling-Tu suspected Li Qi had been given only the first 3 levels. Even so, those first 3 levels were powerful, outstripping most amplification techniques crafted by Champion Undying. "I expect your teacher bestowed the first 3 levels on you," Ling-Tu said. "If you cultivate the technique properly to the 3rd tier, you don't have to reach its full major achievement to succeed. If your body amplification reaches 7 or 8 times, you stand a good chance of passing the universe rank original Tongtian Mountain." "Of course," he added seriously, "that assumes you don't have a crippling weakness. You must be able to handle the combined might of the 3 guardians." Li Qi nodded. "I plan to spend a few decades focused on cultivating the technique, then I'll attempt the original Tongtian Mountain." Ling-Tu smiled approvingly. His junior brother had a sensible temperament, patient, not reckless. Then he surprised Li Qi. "If you pass the original Tongtian Mountain, I, your senior brother, will give you 10 million Hunyuan units as a congratulatory gift for becoming a genius that appears once in tens of millions of eras." Li Qi blinked. 10 million Hunyuan units was an immense sum. His present net worth, excluding technique manuals, barely reached a few million. The offer far exceeded his expectations. He tried to refuse politely. "7th senior brother, even just tens of thousands would be sufficient. There's no need for 10 million. Ling-Tu laughed. 10 million Hunyuan units is nothing to me, a universe exalt. You've received my long-term guidance. If you pass the universe rank original Tongtian Mountain, it brings honor to me as well. 10 million to gain an advantage over other universe exalts? That's a bargain." Li Qi knew Ling-Tu was not jesting. Universe exalts, with vast strength and longevity, still vied for honor and face. A negligible expenditure for a large prestige gain was a common trait among them. "I will do my best to pass," Li Qi said resolutely. "Then I will be awaiting your good news," Ling-Tu replied with a satisfied grin. After Ling-Tu left, Li Qi retreated to his study to plan. According to his original plan, he would build a top F-class spaceship only after scoring heavily at the World Lord rank. But if he could clear the original Tongtian Mountain and claim Ling-Tu's 10 million Hunyuan units, he could afford a Territory Lord rank ship instead. During his time in the Purgatory Abyss, he had met 7th senior brother's disciple, Nightlight King, who had given him 2 kinds of metal. One was practice-grade F-class ship metal. The other, combined with a refined nightmare core, yielded a top F-class alloy, part of it reaching G-level performance. He also possessed 2 Territory Lord rank nightmare cores. Once refined, they would produce hundreds to thousands of tons of top F-class alloy, enough material to build a small ship. He resolved to train hard. Taz World was no place to temper secret techniques for the long haul. Many medicinal herbs he'd obtained from indigenous peoples could be exchanged for over 10,000 points when he returned. He decided to save 40 remaining God Tree comprehension opportunities for when he reached World Lord rank. With that, he logged out of the virtual universe, found the undying spiritual god Luo in Taz World, and informed him of his departure. Luo arranged for a ship to the palace outside Taz World, and an undying from the Universe Mercenary Alliance conveyed Li Qi back to the primitive mystical region. Wu Chen Continent, primitive mystical region. Back at Manor 111, Li Qi devoted himself to cultivating secret techniques at the training ground under Ling Tu's guidance. Over 70 years of steady effort, he advanced the Soul Secret Distortion Eye to the 3rd level, and the Yuanchong Ru Yi body also reached its 3rd level, pushing his body amplification to 7 times. In that period, he also fought in the 3rd Universe Rank Secret Realm contest, defeating Wu Shaiwen and overcoming KD, who ultimately forfeited. He remained resident at Manor 111 in the Primal Zone, and his resolve hardened. After 70 years of quiet cultivation, it's time to challenge the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge and the Universe Rank Original Tongqian Mountain, Li Qi told himself. Tongqian Bridge Plain, a gorgeous island plaza. Guardian Buffin, dressed in white, watched a live broadcast with mild interest. Universe First Bank's newly promoted genius was attempting the Heavenly Bridge. Guardian Baffin chuckled. He's got a good foundation. He could pass the 1st level of the Heavenly Bridge as soon as he enters Primordial Chaos City, but he's still far behind Li Qi when Li Qi first attempted it. Universe First Bank didn't host peak battles, so their geniuses were mostly sourced from branches around the universe. Passing the 1st Heavenly Bridge level immediately upon arriving at Primordial Chaos City at Astral Rank was respectable. A flash of white light and Li Qi appeared on the island's central square. Guardian Baffin noticed him. Li Qi. He surprised himself with a grin. I changed clothes. Sometimes you just feel like it. In less than 100 years, you're back to challenge the Heavenly Bridge, Guardian Baffin said. Confident you can pass the 12th level this time? Li Qi smiled. I want to try. You wouldn't be here if you weren't confident, Guardian Baffin said, shaking his head with an amused look. Li Qi glanced up at the sky screen. Is anyone else on the Tongqian Bridge now? There is. Baffin gestured. On the light screen, a young man had just clashed with the 2nd level Guardian, wielding a 5th-order mind energy weapon, the Green Vine Pillar. He lost. Li Qi's face showed a flicker of nostalgia. Using the Green Vine Pillar to test the bridge, he's nowhere near your level when you first challenged. Baffin shook his head. Look, he engaged the 2nd Guardian and failed. A white flash signaled the young man's return to the plaza. He muttered, I failed. The 2nd level is far tougher than I imagined. Li Qi turned to Guardian Baffin. I'm going up. Go ahead, Baffin said. The young man watched as Li Qi launched himself toward the God Tree Tongtian Bridge. The plaza hummed, then figures arrived in rapid succession. Undying spiritual gods teleported in, their presences weighing down the air. The square was soon shrouded in a dense, oppressive cloud of undying spiritual god pressure. How can so many undying spiritual gods be here? The young man whispered, stunned. Their auras dwarfed even his own teachers. They're all here to watch someone challenge the Heavenly Bridge, Guardian Baffin replied, smiling. It had been only 100 years since Li Qi had cleared the Tongtian Bridge's 11th layer, but 300 years since he left Primordial Chaos City. Could he really press on now and pass the 12th layer? His understanding of law had advanced rapidly, and he always chose to attempt the bridge only when sure. Perhaps he could. If he reached the 12th layer after just 3 centuries away from Primordial Chaos City, that talent would qualify him as a prodigy who appeared only once every 10 million eras. His improvement rate was absurd, far faster than many who had once stood at the universe rank. On the island's central square, many undying spiritual gods stared at the sky screen broadcasting Li Qi's attempt. Conversations buzzed. Li Qi, the 12th layer? A young man exclaimed in shock. Isn't he the runner-up from the last peak genius battle? No way, another scoffed. Only 400 years have passed since then. If he reached the 12th layer in that time, his law comprehension would eclipse most territory lords. The young man was a core member of the Universe First Bank and had access to its resources. He'd read Li Qi's files and believed that had he participated in that battle, he could have ranked similarly. Yet now, watching Li Qi attempt the 12th layer while he himself hadn't even cleared the 2nd, despair crept in. Guardian Baffin, standing nearby, smiled gently to steady him. Yes, he's that Li Qi, Baffin confirmed. The young man's pupils constricted. It really is him. Baffin advised, Don't be arrogant or disheartened. You may have cultivated longer than Li Qi, but your law comprehension is far behind his. When he first attempted the bridge, he used the green vine pillar and fought the third layer guardian to a draw. He only failed because he couldn't defeat the opponent. Still, he added kindly, prodigies like Li Qi are extremely rare, 1 in a million, even 1 in 10 million eras. It's natural you'd be outpaced. Relieved by the reassurance, the young man calmed and turned back to the sky screen. At the end of the Tongtian Bridge's 12th layer, the bridge opened above a vast land. The earth trembled as the system announced, choose your opponent, martial artist, controller, or illusionist. Defeat them to pass the 12th layer. Martial artist, Li Qi said. Rumbling answered. Countless earthen yellow motes erupted from the ground, converging into a figure clad in yellow battle armor and a mask, armed with clawed weapons and arm shields. The yellow warrior spoke in a low voice, impressed and skeptical both. A universe rank on the 12th layer, rare. None of the territory lords in this cycle of the Virtual Universe Corporation have passed this layer. That doesn't mean I can't, Li Qi replied coolly. The yellow-clad man's tone turned mocking. Confidence is fine, but arrogance is a trap. Li Qi smiled. Then begin. With that, the yellow warrior vanished in a streak of yellow light, an afterimage flashing across the bridge. Li Qi moved like a black bolt, leaving a vivid silhouette in his wake. Destroy 3. His gauntlet blazed with space law power. Everywhere it passed, space rippled, and a long dark afterimage tore like a rift. Destruction of the Earth. A beast-like cry echoed as if an ancient predator were lunging. A gigantic claw shadow struck with world-shaking force. The sudden bestial roar made the yellow warrior hesitate, an instant enough to tilt the battle. He hurriedly crossed his arms to block, but he was too rushed to activate the amplification sigils on his arm shields. The claw slammed into his crossed arms. The space law-infused strikes smashed through his defense, hurling him backward with severe injuries. Another beast cry rolled through the air. The space law fluctuations that followed made the yellow warrior falter. He hadn't expected Li Qi to be so strong. Not only had Li Qi's law comprehension reached the 12th layer, his attack power far exceeded the Guardian's. Li Qi's speed was overwhelming, about 30% faster than the yellow warrior at full strength, leaving the injured Guardian no time to dodge. The black gauntlet struck his chest. The force detonated, and his body shattered into countless yellow motes. The bridge surface extended toward the star beyond, and the battlefield shifted into the star itself. He won, just like that! Voices rose around the central square. That was far too easy. Li Qi's power is clearly beyond the average 12th layer Guardian. A martial artist's victory can be simple when their base strength is superior, someone observed. But passing the 12th layer after only 400 years, he's a prodigy of the rarest kind. Terrifying. His talent may rival KD's. Among the crowd, Qingteng King watched the screen with regret burning in his heart. When Li Qi first arrived in Primordial Chaos City, Qingteng King had been optimistic about him. But as a champion undying of the great Axe battleground, it had seemed beneath him to personally take a disciple from the Virtual Universe Corporation. He'd planned to wait until Li Qi attended the Godtree Chaos Tablet School's Grandmaster lectures, and then approach him, only to learn later that Lingtu Venerable had already taken Li Qi as a disciple. That had once been acceptable, but Li Qi's rapid ascent, clearing the 8th layer before leaving Primordial Chaos City, reaching the 10th in a century, and now the 12th, made Qingteng King bitterly regret the missed opportunity. That was a mistake, he thought. If I could do it again, I would have taken him as my personal disciple the moment he cleared the 1st layer. Back at the square, the young man who'd been watching with Guardian Buffen stared in disbelief. He passed so easily. But wasn't Li Qi originally a Psyker Master? Why did he fight as a martial artist? Guardian Buffen explained with a knowing smile. He was on the Psyker Master path when he first entered Primordial Chaos City. After passing the 2nd layer, he switched to the martial artist path. By the time he left the city 30 years later, he had already reached the 8th layer. 30 years to switch paths and reach the 8th layer? The young man choked. That's unreal. Buffen nodded. He adapted fast. Facts show he's more suited to the martial artist path. The young man fell silent. his earlier competitiveness drained by the sheer gap in talent. Li Qi's cultivation time was a fraction of his own, yet his improvement was so rapid it bordered on despair. Across the cosmos, universe exalts watched and discussed in similar tones. Some praised Li Qi's talent, wondering if he might even exceed KD. Others cautioned that once KD finished receiving the ice-cold God General legacy and concentrated on law comprehension, he might pull ahead again. Wanson Venerable, who had split his consciousness to watch the broadcast, smiled. Before comprehending the God Tree, his law comprehension was at the bridge's 10th layer. After comprehending the God Tree 63 times, he reached the 12th layer. Such progress for a universe rank in a century is excellent. If he doesn't falter, he has good prospects of becoming a universe exalt. As an adherent of the God Tree Chaos Tablet, Wanson welcomed Li Qi's rise. Another powerful human exalt would strengthen their school and raise hope for the human race's beast god path to one day produce universe lords. Alone on the 12th layer's end, Li Qi looked at the star where the bridge terminated and exhaled. It had felt unusually easy this time. He had already grasped all 108 fundamental facets of space law. His law comprehension stood at the 12th layer, and with his body amplified sevenfold, nearly eightfold, his base strength greatly outclassed the Guardian. The destruction of the Earth technique, one of the 4 beast god techniques, carried a mental shaking effect. Opponents with weaker wills would stagger mentally, their movements lagging. In close-quarters martial combat, that sort of single, decisive edge could settle fights quickly. A martial artist's combat is straightforward and brutally efficient, Li Qi reflected. Unflashy, but decisive. He had no reason to try the 13th layer now. Having cleared the 12th, his gaze was already set on a higher target. Li Qi left the Tongqian bridge plane and headed toward the universe rank original Tongqian mountain. There are 3 Mount Tongqians in total: the original Tongqian, the primordial Tongqian, and the heaven and earth Tongqian, corresponding to the primitive mystical region, the primordial secret realm, and the heaven and earth secret realm, respectively. Any core member may challenge a Mount Tongqian at any time. Passing the mountain tied to a higher secret realm can promote them into that realm. For example, a member of the Doomsday Secret Realm who clears the original Tongtian can be unconditionally promoted to the primitive mystical region. Although only the original Tongtian grants point rewards, 100 million points for universe rank, 3 billion for territory lord rank, and 100 billion for world lord rank, those points are only actually issued once the challenger becomes a world lord. Virtual Universe, Mount Tongqian Plain Space. 3 colossal peaks rose from the plain, each one grander than the last. Golden sigils glowed on the mid-slopes. Heaven and Earth, Primordial, Original, and the original Tongtian towered above them all. The points for passing the original Tongtian won't be given until I become a world lord, Li Qi thought, but he smiled. Still, I can claim 7th Senior Brother's reward of 10 million Hunyuan units. 10 million Hunyuan units. Here I come. He streaked toward the base of the original Tongtian. There, a burly tauren with curved horns leaned against a black rock, nodding off. A massive great axe lay beside him. The tauren startled awake when Li Qi appeared. "Are you here to challenge the original Tongtian?" he asked, brightening instantly. "Yes." Li Qi inclined his head. The tauren laughed and bellowed, "Someone's come! White-skinned ape, seductive snake woman, get over here!" Whoosh! From 2 other approaches, 2 figures arrived. The one on the left was a lean ape man in silver-white battle armor with golden fur and a black bamboo pole on his back. From the right flew a seductive woman with a human upper body and a snake's tail, draped in sheer gauze. Tauren martial artist, ape man controller, snake woman illusionist, Li Qi named them in his head. He recognized them as the 3 guardians of the foothill. Ape men, tauren, and snake people were all branches of the human race. Ape men were numerous and diverse. The tauren were fewer and slightly weaker by comparison. Snake people were rare, still common enough to be a branch of humanity, but uncommon compared to ape men. "Heh, a challenger at last," the ape man murmured, hunched and curious. The snake woman's long tongue flicked as her watery eyes swept over Li Qi, then their expressions shifted. "Your Highness Li Qi of the primitive mystical region," the snake woman said solemnly, "you just passed the heavenly bridge. 12th level. The Heavenly Bridge 12th level? The Tauren and Ape Man exchanged looks of genuine surprise. For a universe rank to reach Heavenly Bridge 12 was rare. One might encounter one in 1,000,000 or 10,000,000 eras, even for guardians that had stood for countless ages. You've only been in the virtual universe for just over 400 years, and you reached the 12th level? Remarkable. The Ape Man admired his rapid progress in Tao comprehension. The Tauren explained the rules. You must fight your way from the base to the summit, kill the guardians at the base, the mid-slope, and the peak. Then you pass the original Tongtian. We three are the base guardians. I understand, Li Qi said. Out of duty, they asked again. Do you challenge the original Tongtian? I do, Li Qi answered. Charge, the three shouted together. The Tauren surged forward, earth trembling beneath him. He swung his great axe, an earthy yellow light coalesced into a blade that split space as it descended. The Ape Man's mind power snapped into action. The black bamboo pole on his back uncoiled into 9 sections connected by invisible threads, forming a whip-like weapon called the Arc Serpent. It launched forward like a dazzling serpent. The Snake Woman's purple eyes flashed, and she sent an invisible mental assault toward Li Qi. The 3 attacks struck in perfect coordination, and mind power, fast and direct, plunged toward Li Qi's Sea of Consciousness. In Li Qi's Sea of Consciousness, the distortion eye rotated, a circular black eye detailed with countless lines. Look closer, and you'd see the pupil contained another smaller distortion eye, and that pupil contained yet another, 3 nested distortion eyes, the 3rd layer of the technique. The Snake Woman's mind power tried to infiltrate, but the revolving distortion eyes shredded it. My illusions aren't working, the Snake Woman hissed. Without her illusions, the illusionist was almost useless. Li Qi had not re-entered the illusion sea, but after cultivating distortion eye for years, his will had a very high chance of reaching the 8th island. He'd also unlocked the 3rd layer of the soul's secret art distortion eye. His soul will was not something a universe-rank Snake Woman could meddle with. He ignored the Snake Woman's revived mental attack. In a blur of motion, his after-image remained in place while his true body appeared beside the Tauren. He struck with a palm wrapped in a black, savage gauntlet. The gauntlet connected with the Tauren's head with a sickening crack. The Tauren's skull exploded. Barbarian bull, the Ape Man and Snake Woman cried in shock. Li Qi flicked his hand and conjured a long, dark claw shadow that struck away the Arc Serpent as it tried to recover. The Ape Man realized Li Qi was coming for him and fled, but Li Qi closed the gap in an instant. The claw shadow elongated, enveloped the fleeing Ape Man, and slammed into him. The Snake Woman threw up a serpent-patterned black shield, but the dark claw did not merely shatter the shield, it pierced through the Ape Man. His body split into 6 pieces, blood spraying. Li Qi pivoted and went after the Snake Woman. She spat blood at the corner of her mouth. Her mental weapon had been broken, and her mind was wounded. She threw up another serpent screen of black blades. Li Qi's gauntlet struck like a beast's horn, smashing through the shield. Black blades disintegrated, and the Snake Woman's head shattered. After the 3 fell, Li Qi's heart stayed steady. The battlefield's traces dissolved, and in the next moment the 3 guardians were restored, whole and unharmed. The Snake Woman rose gracefully, bowing her head. Your Highness Li Qi, you have passed the base stage, she said. Li Qi nodded and flew toward the mid-slope. The guardians watched him go. The Tauren's voice rumbled. We haven't been so thoroughly beaten in a long while. It's been a long time since a universe rank at Heavenly Bridge 12 has appeared, the Ape Man muttered. Li Qi continued upward. The original Tongtian loomed into the clouds. It took a long climb before he reached the summit, which was shrouded in mist. Atop the peak, a Tauren snored like thunder. An Ape Man drank from a barrel of fine wine, and the Snake Woman played in a pool. At Li Qi's approach, all 3 opened their eyes. The difficulty rose with every level. The mid-slope was 10 times harder than the base, the summit 100 times harder. The Snake Woman slid from the pool, veiled in only a thin cloth. Her snake tail glided through the water, and she sighed. How long has it been? It's been too long. Ages, the Tauren agreed. We were created countless years ago. We haven't had a challenger for millions of eras. The Ape Man rose. the three of them ancient and long evolved into sentient guardians capable of feeling loneliness. For the universe rank original Tongtian, they warned, just the three guardians at the base are roughly on par with Heavenly Bridge 8. Li Qi considered this and thought, law comprehension at Heavenly Bridge 8 and coordinated teamwork could dispatch most universe-rank challengers. Usually primitive mystical region universe-rank members hovered around Heavenly Bridge 8, a few at 9. Only those at 9 with strong secret arts could clear the base. The mid-slope guardians, they said, were about Heavenly Bridge 10, outside the reach of most. As the first outsider in millions of eras, the Snake Woman murmured softly, "I'd love to talk, but we must do our duty. We will defend the summit with everything we've got." "Same here," Li Qi replied with a smile. In an instant, his afterimage hung in the mist, while his real body struck at the ape-man by the pool. The Snake Woman's eyes flashed, and invisible mind power washed outward, but Li Qi's distortion eye ground the illusion to dust. He was unaffected. The ape-man slashed a crescent of light at Li Qi's head. He deflected it with one hand. The Tauren stamped forward, his great axe roaring into a downward arc. "I've been waiting." Li Qi ignored the escaping ape-man and fouled the great axe's trajectory with a dark claw shadow. He slipped past the diverted blade and surged at the Tauren. A guttural shriek echoed, an ancient beast cry, a soul-shaking roar that gave the Tauren pause. From the gauntlet, a long dark claw shadow stretched, seeming to tear at the fabric of space itself. Wherever it passed, space trembled, and hairline cracks crawled through the air. Li Qi unleashed a sliver of beast god concept to trigger the secret technique, Destruction of the Earth, a mind-shaking attack that briefly muddled the Tauren's thoughts. At universe rank, speed was everything. In a duel between equals, even a momentary hesitation could be fatal. Fortunately for the Tauren, he wasn't alone. 2 companions supported him. As Li Qi struck, a torrent of black blades surged out. Clang, clang. The blades coalesced into a black shield, threaded with snake-like patterns in front of the Tauren. Thud! More than half of the long, dark claw shadow slammed into the shield. A sliver bypassed it and ripped a bloody wound across the Tauren's body. After absorbing the blow, the Snake Woman's mind power wavered. She snorted softly. "Brute! Be careful! Something's wrong." The Tauren swung his bloodied great axe and took a step back while sending a mental alert to his companions. Li Qi's secret technique has an illusion effect. "An illusion attack?" The Snake Woman replied, stunned, then transmitted in thought. Could he be an illusionist? No wonder my illusions didn't take hold. An illusionist! The ape-man's mental voice carried unease. This complicates things. If Li Qi really was a powerful illusionist, 2 of the 3 guardians would be hamstrung. The Snake Woman relied on illusion techniques and would be powerless against a fellow illusionist skilled in will and soul attacks. The Tauren, a close combat martial artist, possessed weak soul will and was especially vulnerable to such attacks. A single daze could mean death. Thankfully, the initial strike hadn't finished him. Li Qi clicked his tongue, dodged the incoming arc-shaped ray of light, and shot toward the distant Snake Woman with deadly speed. The 3 guardians of Tongtian Mountain, offense, defense, and close combat, coordinate exceptionally well, Li Qi thought. And this Snake Woman is stronger than the earlier stages. I can't break her mind energy shield with one blow. I have to take her out first, or the others will be impossible to kill. Among the 3, the ape-man controller was the greatest threat, followed by the illusionist Snake Woman, and last the Tauren martial artist. Seeing Li Qi rush in, the Snake Woman recalled her mind energy weapon and sent a sharp mental order. "Brute, stop him. Dream on." The ape-man surged his mind power. The black arc of light brightened and accelerated, condensing into a dark moon blade that trailed a long tail as it shot toward Li Qi. Li Qi leapt, flipping, and brought a claw down. A dark claw shadow manifested. "Destroy 3." The grotesque dark gauntlet on his hand crackled with spatial law power. Space itself began to shiver and split. Amplified nearly 8-fold by his body amplitude and bolstered by a law comprehension equal to the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge, Li Qi forcibly suppressed the black arc of light, smashing it into the ground. The aftershocks of the law fluctuations rolled outward. Using the recoil, Li Qi kept his momentum and barreled straight at the Snake Woman. The Tauren, a step too slow, couldn't catch up. Not good, the snake woman thought, alarmed. Isn't he an illusionist? How can he withstand a direct mind-energy weapon strike? She planted the black, snake-patterned shield and lashed out with invisible mind force at Li Qi. The distortion eye guarding Li Qi's sea of consciousness whirred, grinding away the foreign mind power that had tried to infiltrate him. The black shield flared as the snake woman pushed its amplification patterns to the limit. Useless, Li Qi muttered. He extended his right hand. The dark gauntlet bit at the law of space wherever it moved. If he were outside this plane, he could have torn open a small rift. Stop him! The snake woman doubled down on the shield's amplification to block Li Qi's incoming strike. Slap! Li Qi's left hand moved faster, first slamming the edge of the shield. His left gauntleted hand carried immense force, and a single, fierce blow upended the balance of the shield. It flipped aside, exposing the snake woman's slender form. Li Qi's right hand followed through, passing through the overturned shield and colliding with her body with terrible power. Boom! The snake woman's body shattered on the spot. She died instantly. Die! The Tauren finally closed the distance and swung his bloody great axe in a horizontal arc. The blade radiated a yellow-brown light, tracing a long semicircle. Space quivered and cracked where it passed. Li Qi drew back slightly and slammed his left gauntleted hand down. Destroy 3. The claw shadow descended, tearing space as it cut, and struck the face of the great axe. The impact shoved the axe down, robbing it of momentum. Li Qi rode the force, leapt onto the axe's blade, and sprinted along it toward the Tauren. The Tauren changed tactics, flipping the head of the axe for an upward cleave meant as a killing blow. A sharp, primordial shriek, a soul-rattling roar, like some ancient, vicious beast, rolled out. The Tauren froze momentarily mid-swing, dazed despite his guard. Pfft! A dark claw shadow slashed across his throat. Li Qi's right claw left a deep, gushing wound. Blood sprayed like a geyser. On the other side, Li Qi used his left arm as a shield to intercept the arc-shaped dark blade from the ape-man, foiling any rescue attempt. It's over. After evading the Tauren's last struggle, Li Qi shattered the Tauren's head with a single claw. The 3 guardians lay dead. None of them could defeat him. The remaining ape-man fared no better. Not long after, he too fell. Li Qi had passed the universe-rank original Tongtian mountain. He stood on the mountaintop, a smile on his face as fog curled around the 3 bodies. I've passed the universe-rank original Tongtian mountain, he said. The wounds on the 3 bodies instantly healed. The Tauren, the snake woman, and the ape-man rose to their feet as if nothing had happened. They bowed and smiled. Congratulations, Li Qi, they said in unison. Congratulations on passing the universe-rank original Tongtian mountain. The Tauren spoke first. Li Qi, are you an illusionist? Your secret technique really does shake the mind. No. Li Qi shook his head gently. Not an illusionist? The snake woman asked, puzzled. How could you resist my illusion? Your illusion simply wasn't strong enough, Li Qi said with a smile. My will and soul techniques are exceptionally powerful. Your illusion couldn't touch me. To pass the universe-rank original Tongtian mountain, he had cultivated for decades. He had raised the amplification body technique Yuanchong Ruyi body to the 3rd level, and his soul technique distortion eye had likewise reached the 3rd level. It was odd how quickly he'd advanced in Yuanchong Ruyi body. Most of his cultivation time had been spent developing distortion eye. Meanwhile, in the virtual universe on Thunder Island, an announcement spread through the corporation. Li Qi had passed the original Tongtian mountain. Emails pinged into the inboxes of Universe Exalts. What? Li Qi passed the original Tongtian mountain. That's the original Tongtian mountain. How long has he been cultivating? This prodigy is absurd. He might even be stronger than K Dai. His progress is insanely fast. Ask Ling Tu how he taught Li Qi. One exalt after another reacted with shock and amazement. Among those who had passed the original Tongtian mountain, the youngest had cultivated in the primitive mystical region for nearly 1,000 years. Li Qi? He was barely over 500 years old, a fraction of the others. Having passed the original Tongtian mountain, Li Qi now rivaled KD in present talent. Even KD's supporters admitted it. Some still believed KD would surpass Li Qi in the long run, but for now, Li Qi had outpaced him. In a palace on Thunder Island, 3 universe exalts sat in a triangle with fine wine and delicacies. A venerable wrapped in black flame space took a sip and sighed. It's been just over 400 years since we started the peak genius battle, and Li Qi passed the original Tongtian mountain in such a short stretch. This genius is incredible. He halved the previous record for passing the original Tongtian mountain from almost 1,000 years in the primitive mystical region to just over 400, another venerable, surrounded by life aura, lamented. If records are measured by age, no one will likely break his. The third, wreathed in flashing electric light, laughed. Good foresight on our part to give that youngster a slot in the primitive mystical region. Without it, he might never have achieved this. Indeed, the black flame venerable agreed reluctantly. He alone had admitted they had shown good sense by approving Li Qi's quota. Li Qi will likely break through to Territory Lord rank soon. We should consider his highest integral missions. The life aura venerable suggested. He comprehends the God Tree Chaos Tablet and shows genius in the Beast God path. When the time comes, arrange for him to meet with the Golden Horn people. Feasible. Arrange that as the first stage. We'll plan subsequent missions later, the Electric Light Venerable said. On Thunder Island's central mountain range, Ling Tu Venerable sat on his throne, smiling at the continuous stream of messages. Li Qi's success reflected hugely on him. His junior disciple had brought him great face. Li Qi had passed the original Tongtian mountain after only a little over 400 years in the primitive mystical region, a massive leap from the previous record. My junior is indeed a prodigy, Ling Tu mused. Yuanchong Ruyi body is hard to cultivate, yet he reached the third level with ease. He had cultivated that technique himself and knew how difficult the path was. Reaching its third level normally took tens of thousands of years. Li Qi had done it in barely over a century. He must have had some special opportunity. Then Ling Tu remembered a promise. Right, I promised him 10 million Hunyuan units if he passed the original Tongtian mountain. He split off a sliver of consciousness and transferred the funds. I'll send the 10 million now. At Yuxiang Mountain's training grounds, KD bowed respectfully to a bald man in a fiery red robe. Second senior brother. The bald man was Guiyi Venerable, the second disciple of Primordial Chaos City Lord, a human race universe overlord. Primordial Chaos City Lord had assigned such a powerful guide to KD, both out of regard and because Guiyi comprehended the cosmic chaos tablet, making him an ideal mentor. Guiyi nodded. I have good news. Another prodigy from our race passed the original Tongtian mountain. KD's eyes flashed. Is it Li Qi? Guardian Bafin's broadcast of Li Qi's passing had already caused a stir. Passing the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge surprised many. Passing the original Tongtian mountain did even more. Yes, it's Li Qi, Guiyi confirmed. Some universe exalts and even higher existences say he has surpassed you in present genius. I can pass the original Tongtian mountain too, KD said firmly. I'm not weaker than Li Qi. Guiyi smiled. We'll talk after you pass it. Despite his words, Guiyi believed in KD. With his talent and the legacy of the ice-cold general, passing the original Tongtian mountain shouldn't be difficult. Back at Yuxiang Mountain's Manor 111, Li Qi sat in his study after leaving the Tongtian mountain plain. Xiaoxi's pleasant voice echoed in his mind as he prepared for whatever came next. Master, your account at the Universe Galaxy Bank has received 10 million Hunyuan units, Xiaoxi's cheerful voice echoed in Li Qi's mind. 10 million Hunyuan units. Li Qi smiled. That must be the gift from 7th senior brother, he murmured, then summoned a hollow screen. After tapping through the listings, he clicked his tongue. Even with the materials to synthesize nightmare alloy on hand, the production fee was still several hundred Hunyuan units. If only his body could withstand the extreme temperatures required to smelt such a top-tier F-class alloy, he could do it himself and save the fee. But nightmare alloy needs terrifying heat to synthesize, heat only a world lord who's comprehended the origin of fire law or an undying spiritual god can withstand. If a world lord refined the nightmare cores themselves, the cost would be low, maybe around 10 Hunyuan units, but it would take ages. Li Qi couldn't wait that long, so he had to pay a Marcus-level undying several hundred Hunyuan units and accept a production time of over a year. 2 nightmare cores, each nearly a ton, could be refined into over 100 tons of nightmare alloy. Combined with other materials, that would be enough to build a small spaceship. He checked the shipbuilding costs. He did have over 10 million Hunyuan units, but that would only allow him to fit the ship with ordinary accessories. Even the basic setup cost more than 7 million. It was a relief he already had the main body materials. The structural components were the most expensive part. Engines and fittings could be economized if he accepted a slower ship, but the main hull determined durability and combat endurance. You couldn't cut corners there. Building the ship would swallow nearly half his wealth. After more than 4 centuries in the Virtual Universe Corporation, he'd completed more than a dozen Cultivate missions and accumulated roughly 10 million Hunyuan units. Seventh Senior Brother's 10 million had been the biggest windfall, supplemented by King Suimi's apology gift of 1 million from the giant god world and the flaming void gold from the Sky Devour Palace Master, worth several 100,000. He'd also collected valuable materials and opportunities. An incomplete beast god statue and over 1,000 Blood River crystals from the Blood Luo world. The statue had let him grasp a fragment of the beast god concept. The crystals had enabled him to become a black warrior, multiplying his law comprehension and attack power tenfold when he activated Blood Luo power. From the giant god world, consuming the giant god power fruit had increased his body height to 238 meters, a full 100-fold increase. In the Taz world, he'd gained a huge opportunity, 103 chances to comprehend the God Tree in this era, and once per era for the next 10,000 eras. He'd already used 63 of those 103. Comprehending the God Tree had greatly boosted his law understanding, helping him reach the Tongtian Bridge, 16th layer, in just over 100 years. In just over 300 years in the primitive mystical region, I've come a long way, he thought. Fortune has favored me. Having passed the Universe Rank original Tongtian Mountain, Li Qi felt there was little point lingering at Universe Rank. It would be better to break through to Territory Lord Rank quickly, then aim for World Lord Rank after completing the highest point mission. World Lord Rank is the period of greatest law affinity and the prime time to deepen law comprehension. More time at World Lord Rank meant exponentially more accumulation. In this region, many World Lords had law comprehension comparable to Marcus-level Undyings. With time, they could become Marcus-level Undyings themselves. I can secure my place among the Territory Lord Rank members in the primitive mystical region by breaking through, he mused. Still, he decided not to rush. I can wait until the ship is built, he thought. Besides, my cloud-caressing vine is only Territory Lord Rank level 9. I can buy resources to push it to World Lord Rank level 9 for added protection. A normal cloud-caressing vine would need about 20,000 Hunyuan units to evolve from Territory Lord Rank level 9 to World Lord Rank. But Li Qi's vine had been cultivated optimally since the planetary level and needed 120,000 points to reach World Lord Rank. Those were points, not Hunyuan units. Buying them with currency would cost several 100,000 Hunyuan. He'd earned over 400,000 points after passing the Tongtian Bridge 16th layer. Still, he'd already comprehended all 108 essences of space law and needed the 5th volume of God Tree True Understanding, an exchange that required 1 million points. His current points, a little over 600,000, weren't enough. The highest point mission would pay well. The Universe Rank Original Tongtian Mountain rewarded 100 million points. The Territory Lord Rank rewarded 3 billion, and the World Lord Rank a staggering 100 billion. He expected the reward for clearing the Universe Rank highest point mission to be generous, enough to secure the 5th volume. For now, he used Hunyuan units to buy cultivation resources to advance the cloud-caressing vine. If he had the funds or points, he'd push it to Undying Rank, but even the most basic plan required 6.2 million Hunyuan units. The optimal plan for a 108 main vines Mo Yun vine carried an 80% chance of becoming an undying spiritual god and demanded 18.1 million points. The 216 main vines plan cost 1.53 billion points for a 50% chance. The 360 main vines plan needed nearly 11.6 billion points for a 40% chance. Plant cultivation was astronomically expensive, but an undying plant's divine body would be fearsome. Li Qi compared that to his Guyu ancient tree and shook his head inwardly. The tree's maximum growth height was 100 kilometers, but his Guyu ancient tree clone was only 10 kilometers tall after a tenfold increase. It still looked puny. No wonder they went extinct, he thought. An important message arrived then, an email from his teacher, Ice Peak Lord. The message requested his presence. Li Qi wondered if it was because he'd passed the universe rank, original Tongqian Mountain, and entered his teacher's private dimensional space. Ice Peak Lord's realm was a frozen wasteland of bone-gnawing winds and heavy snow. Li Qi stepped in and saw his teacher, silver hair streaked with gray, an old battle sword strapped to his back, ancient armor spattered with old blood. "Greetings, teacher," Li Qi said, bowing. "Very good," Ice Peak Lord said softly. "You passed the universe rank original Tongqian Mountain in just over 400 years in my Virtual Universe Corporation's core layer. That's the fastest record so far. You've set a record, and you deserve a reward," Ice Peak Lord continued. "I'll give you a choice, 2 options." Li Qi listened. Option 1, receive the reward immediately. When you reach World Lord rank, I will grant you a treasure of Universe Exalt rank. A treasure of Universe Exalt rank. Li Qi's mind raced. He knew those were heavy treasures, unmatched equipment meant to withstand Universe Exalt battles. A king-level Undying wielding such a treasure could spike dramatically in combat, possibly climbing from king title limit to king undefeated with the right item. Ice Peak Lord went on. Option 2. If you pass the Territory Lord rank original Tongqian Mountain within 10,000 years, then when you reach World Lord rank and go out for training, I can bestow upon you a treasure that many Universe Exalts don't even possess. A treasure that many Universe Exalts don't possess? Li Qi's heart skipped. Supreme treasures were extremely rare. Even many top-tier Universe Exalts lacked one. He didn't hesitate. "Teacher, I choose the second option," he said. "Are you sure?" Ice Peak Lord asked. "The Territory Lord rank original Tongqian Mountain is not easy to pass." "Disciple is sure," Li Qi replied respectfully. He understood the difficulty. Passing that mountain required at least the Tongtian Bridge, 16th layer of law comprehension, already the level of many world lords here. The heavenly bridge grew harder every layer, with a milestone every 3 layers. Reaching the 16th layer meant overcoming 2 such milestones. Ice Peak Lord nodded. "Very well. I look forward to your success. Remember, you'll have only 10,000 years after you reach Territory Lord rank." "I understand. Disciple accepts." Li Qi bowed. "You may go," Ice Peak Lord said, and Li Qi exited the frozen space. As he left, Ice Peak Lord murmured, "I've given you the opportunity. Whether you seize it is up to you." Back at his manor in the Rain Phase Mountain original area, Li Qi sank onto a sofa and exhaled. "My teacher is generous," he said aloud. Passing the universe rank original Tongqian Mountain had already earned him a heavy treasure, and now a chance at an even rarer prize awaited if he pushed farther. 7th senior brother had told him teachers bestowed treasures on disciples who broke through to World Lord rank. 7th senior brother himself had received top-tier heavy treasure armor. If Li Qi had chosen the first option, he might have received 2 heavy treasures at least. But the lure of a possible supreme treasure, so rare even among Universe Exalts, was worth the gamble. The clock would start after he became a Territory Lord. The ship would take over 4 years to build. He could use the time wisely to cultivate. 1 year later, in the Demon Clan territory, a magnificent palace hovered in a distorted patch of starry void. Flames the size of stars, black, white, purple, and more, swirled around it, warping space into its own dimension. A 10-kilometer-long white celestial wolf flew from the void and prostrated itself at the plaza before the palace. "Leader," it reported, "latest intelligence from the human race. Nobot 2 has passed the universe rank original Tongtian Mountain." A statue in the palace that resembled an eye blinked, then rumbled. "He's only been in the Virtual Universe Corporation for just over 400 years and already cleared the universe rank original Tongtian Mountain. His talent is almost identical to Nobot 1's. "Raise his assassination rank," the statue ordered coldly. "Promote Nobot 2 to level 1. "Yes, leader," the white celestial wolf answered and flew off to issue the order. As a king-level Undying tasked with assassination operations, the Wolf knew No. 1 still had higher long-term potential, but elevating Enober 2's assassination rank showed the leader's concern. A Level 1 assassination directive allowed king-level soul-enslaved servants to be sacrificed for the operation, prioritizing soul enslavement before execution so the target couldn't be resurrected by time and space reversal. This was reserved for assassinating extraordinarily talented geniuses among the other races. Exposing such valuable soul servants revealed the monster race's attention to Liqi and KD. The insect race, masters of soul control, issued similar orders to their operatives and spies within human territory. Time flowed on. 3 years passed almost in a blink. Because the nutrient cabin needed reinforcement, Liqi broke through to Territory Lord rank a year earlier than planned.